Ladies and gentlemen, please excuse this brief interruption, but I have to tell you about a very cool and interactive way that you can experience the show. I'm talking about how you can chime in on the live show broadcast at your convenience using the Buy Me a Coffee app on your phone. You might be asking, what the heck is Buy Me a Coffee? Well, it's a fun and easy way that you can tip the show during our live broadcast or even later at buymeacoffee.com/dangerousinfopodcast. I also have that link listed down below in the description. Now get this, when you see the Buy Me a Coffee banner show up on the screen when you're watching the show, it's got the logo and all that, that is the time when you can send your tip. But here's the fun part. It happens instantaneously and your message will just pop up on the screen along with a little audio message that I have preloaded. It might be a rooster crowing, a crazy dog bark, or a hilarious audio clip that I ended up finding along the way. So your interaction will hit us by surprise, and you, along with the other live viewers, will enjoy a laugh by what you just did. And if that isn't enough, I just learned that on the audio playback on the screen in your car, you will also get a fun alert scrolling across your radio. Yeah, that's crazy. But be careful driving is what I'm saying. All right, now let's get you back to the show, and I look forward to seeing your surprise pop up unexpectedly so you can scare Outcast and make us laugh. All right, you guys, stay dangerous by hitting us with the most interactive message. Now let's get back to the show.
Our institutions have become corrupt. Unconstitutional agencies are infringing on your rights. Your liberty was secured by strong men and women of yesterday. We live in the age of disinformation and corporate propaganda. You're an American, born with unalienable rights. Yet those rights are being trampled every day by unelected busybodies. Welcome to the Dangerous Info Podcast with Jesse James and Outcast. Dangerous. Stay blessed in the battle.
Conspiracy theorists were right again. Have you guys seen what's going on in Oxford right now in the UK? They just set up their little 15-minute city and they are now charging people for leaving the city. You get 100 free days. They call it a free day. You get a free pass to leave the 15-minute city. And if you exceed your 100 free days, you have to pay the US dollar equivalent of $93 per day. And if you live outside of the 15-minute city and you want to travel into the 15-minute city, you get 25 free passes. Free movement. Oh, the government's giving you free movement capability. You get 25 free passes. And if you exceed those 25 days, it's $93 a day. And how are they tracking all this? Oh, there's not a man at the gate. They're not writing up tickets or having police officers set up. Oh no, they are monitoring you with digital AI surveillance and cameras. And then they're automatically finding you. This is why we have to be against the flock cameras in the United States. They're not just speed trap cameras. This is why we have to be against the Palantir whole of government database. This is why we have to stand up and raise awareness and bring attention to these matters instead of arguing with each other and NPCs on the internet over left versus right issues or my side, your side. They are keeping us artificially divided because they are setting up this infrastructure in the United States right now. Divide and conquer. We are in the division part of the divide and conquer agenda. Conquer is next. You think it's bad now? Wait till you have to pay $100 a day to leave your 15-minute city.
If you're still listening to the mainstream media, you're probably the same person I laughed at today, driving alone in your car, wearing a mask. Wake up, normie. The depopulation is real. You're listening to Jesse James and Outcast, right here on the Dangerous Info Podcast. Oh, good Lord.
Yes, everybody. It is another Monday night. That's right. It's March 16th, 2026. Welcome to the Dangerous Info Podcast, where truth is dangerous and, of course, information is a weapon. Yes, the spiritual and the cultural battle of our lives is upon us right now, you guys. We are just a day ahead of St. Patty's Day. We're going to get into that just a little bit. But we're going to be talking all kinds of stuff tonight. Politics, culture, Yahweh, survival prep in this crazy world. That's right, you guys. The world is getting crazier day by day is what I'm telling you guys. I see everybody coming in here from Rumble. How you guys doing in Rumble? All right, YouTube, pill.net, BitChute, and also Twitch. All the live streamers, all the live chatters, welcome you guys in. We're going to have a good time tonight on this one. That's right, you guys. Episode 261. This is the Weekend at BB's with me and you, Outcast. What's going on, brother?
Hey, I am blessed in the battle, as usual. How you doing, brother?
Oh, good. Had a good weekend, and now the weather's turned cold again. Listen, we lost power last night about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, just before bed. Didn't come back on until this morning around 11:30, but I ran a generator. Probably, what time did I get out there? Probably around 7:30. Turn the generator on. Listen, I can't sleep when there's no noise, no background noise. When it's dead silent, I have trouble sleeping, Outcast, is what I'm saying. I don't know about you, but any little noise gets me, and it's crazy. I can't sleep in dead silence. Got to have something going on, like a fan.
You like the white noise.
Exactly. The white fan, the white noise. I don't care what color the fan is, black, white, pink fan, whatever. Yeah, I just need that white noise in the background. If not, I wake up. So I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's a lot of you guys. But yeah, Music Lover says, glad you guys got power back. We are under a blizzard warning until 4 a.m. Oh, yeah, I believe it. Listen, up north, Outcast, we have friends up there right now. We're seeing anywhere from 39 inches, 19 inches, 24, depending on where you're at. I'm glad we're not there, and I'm glad we just got brushed by it. We got a little bit of snow, a little bit of flake, a lot of wind the last 2 days. And this weekend, ton of wind, knock stuff down, knock power down. I've got to do a big cleanup this spring around here because there's so many limbs down now. So it's been a windy one down here, downstate Michigan, but up north, lots of snow, record snow, I think.
I got a big limb came down in my yard. I got an old maple that's dying, and man, I just hate to see those limbs fall. And it was a biggie. Yeah, but it's going to happen. It's Mother Nature's pruning time.
That's right. And waking up all the trees, man, getting all that stuff moving around, waking them trees up, getting doing what it does. But I got to tell you, with the system that went by, I don't believe that's a natural system, man.
I don't either.
I just don't.
It's crazy. And the footage up north, even though it's up north, it's off the charts. It's ridiculous, especially for this time of year. It seems like it's like a middle of dead of winter blizzard. Beyond blizzard. Yeah. And it was a 1-2 punch because it was two separate storms that came through. Remember, there was like a day or two in between, I think. So I think Friday they had one, and then Sunday night they had another one come through. We talked to JD. He's up there right now having a great time with the snowmobiles and all that stuff. But, I'm just glad it's up there. Our snow is gone on the ground right now, but it turned cold again. I'm ready for a break, and I think we're going to get that starting Wednesday this week. So, listen, they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. The seasons are changing. They keep messing with the jet stream, Outcast. So we get these fluctuations that are kind of very unnatural compared to what we used to get when we were kids. Completely unnatural. I see a lot of people, or even normies now, are starting to wake up to what's going on with the geoengineering in the skies and all the lines and the tic-tac-toes up there. And I'm just glad to see it. Everybody's starting to come around a little bit. That's why they got to push their agendas before 2030, because at the rate we're going, more and more people are waking up all the time. They can't have that.
What a key pivotal year. We'll get to that too. We got a lot of stuff to get to, Outcast. The Weekend at BB's. Does this guy have 6 fingers or what? Is he a Nephilim giant? Is he what? We're gonna get into that stuff, you guys. I can't wait to do that. But I see Trump one over here on pill.net. What's going on? Thank you for coming in. And she's putting out a bunch of cookies. She gifted us a cookie, Outcast. Look at that. Thank you so much, Trump, for the cookie. We'll split that, and I'll send you some. And let me see. I'm looking around. I'll be checking tonight. I'll be checking the Rumble rants and the the buy me a coffee stuff, Outcast. That is funny when that happens. So I'll be checking that and the gold pills and all these things. So listen, tomorrow we have St. Patrick's Day. Of course, here in the States, it's all about getting drunk and drinking green beer. That's what it's come down to. Look what Christmas has come down to. Look what Easter's come down to. It's crazy. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I'll say, go ahead.
I think, look, I'm guilty of partying over this holiday for a long time in the past. Okay. Not anymore. I really don't. I'm not getting up early to drink green beer at some bar that stinks. No, I'm not about that. What I am into though, I like the food, the cabbage and the stew. I'm down with all that. But why don't you look? You have some information that we need to hear, and I asked you about it earlier.
Yeah, I have a few factoids, but I'll tell you this. Years and years ago, I had a job, and I worked with a guy whose mother lived in Ireland, and he told me, I said, what do they do for St. Patrick's Day? He goes, oh, I'll call her on St. Patrick's Day, and she'll go, oh, we went to church, and then we had dinner, and that was it. Right? That was what they do in Ireland.
Yeah.
The green hat, the Mardi Gras beads, and the green hats, and the green beer, and all that. It has turned into such a the simple explanation is this: oh, Americans commercialize everything and they turn it into a big party. Yeah, that's what we're known for. We're Americans,
right?
But you can see how you could take something that is potentially holy and bastardize it and corrupt it, which seems to be another American tradition that I see a lot too.
Yeah.
But some basic factoids on St. Patrick off the top of my head. It is believed that he was originally from either Great Britain or Wales, maybe even Scotland, but most likely my guess is Wales. And he came from a family of religious people that were early Christians in the Britons. But he was kidnapped at 16 or 17 years old, and for 6 years he was taken to Ireland as a slave, and in a region of Ireland I'm familiar with called Dalriada. Now Dalriada would be the northern part of Ireland, like Ulster. The islands and western shores of Scotland is an ancient kingdom called Dalriada, or the Dalriadic Scots. And that's where he was I think he was essentially a sheep herder there, but he prayed diligently. He was not educated, but he prayed hard every single day. And he was having vivid dreams that he was supposed to lead the people of Ireland who were pagan to Christianity. And in his dream, God told him that he should, told him the day and the when and the how to flee. And he went down to the shoreline and found a vessel there, and he convinced them to take him aboard. And long story short, he ended back with his family in Great Britain, either Wales or Great Britain. There's not a lot known about him. It's kind of we're talking 365 AD-ish, somewhere around there.
Wow.
So then a long time ago. So he decided that he wanted to go back to Ireland and convert the pagans to Christianity. And that's exactly what he did. He went back and he was met with resistance. And what he did, now I have some, it's interesting to ponder this, and I'm wondering what our listeners are thinking too. If anybody wants to chime in, feel free. But what he did was he amalgamated the pagan traditions of Celtic Ireland with Christianity and made it palatable for them. And it's a blend. So, for example, a Celtic cross. Everybody knows what a Celtic cross is. It's kind of a cross with a circle around around it
in the middle,
top.
right?
Yep.
Or is that at the top? Okay.
That's at the top, yeah. So originally what that was just a circle with a cross in it, and that signified the sun. And I think that was probably sun god worship, which could be also referred to as Baal worship in some circles. But he added a stick to it, and he brought the message of Christ. He took a shamrock, and he talked about the Holy Trinity using the shamrock. He took the Celtic people have beautiful artwork that has swirls. There's triple swirls and double swirls. He took the triple, it's called a triskel, and he used that to describe the Holy Trinity. Every chance he got, he integrated the Holy Trinity and the message of Christ in with their pagan traditions. So far as, I'll tell you this, in Ireland to this day, there are churches that have Celtic standing stones outside that are essentially phallic in its origins, where the people in the community, when it was pagan, would go and the children would march around and touch the stone, and it was a fertility. Well, there's churches built next to these Celtic pagan stones, these Druidic stones, and they still observe these these traditions. They'll go to church, and then periodically, once a year, whatever, the kids all go out, take their shoes off, and they walk around. And they touch the stone. So they still, or another thing, the Celts believed that the soul resided in your head. So the Celts were known for being headhunters. We're talking about the pagans. So in battle, they would take your head because they believed if they had your head, they had your soul. And they would slather it in oil and preserve it, and they'd have a chest. And if you came to visit, they might take the heads out of the chest and say, "Check out my trophies." Right. Well,
that reminds me of cutting the head off Nephilim.
It does. You're right. That's a good point. That's funny they say that. So then, to this day in Ireland, you would go in, and maybe Scotland too, for some of these things also, you'll see carved on the walls are the heads of the saints, like just the heads on the wall, right?
Yeah.
Or other the symbols of other people. Well, that's hearkening to the tradition of head hunting, because the head represents the soul in the Celtic tradition. So you'll see all this amalgamation. It's pretty cool to think about how you would go about converting an entire nation of people who were barbarian warlords who were pagan druids, right? How do you do that? Well, he'd have to go to a king or a chieftain, and if he could convert that chieftain, all of his followers would then convert also. There's a lot to this story, but that's kind of that's what he did, is he converted an entire pagan nation into Christianity. I should say, not single-handedly. He had disciples and students and people who worked with him, but he led that charge. There were a few Christians there. He kind of went there and brought them together and rallied them around himself. That's who St. Patrick is. He has nothing to do with green beer or nothing like that. He is attributed with casting out the serpents from Ireland. Now, the historians say that serpents were long gone before he came along in Ireland due to the climate and other things. I don't know. Maybe that's just modern history trying to squash the story. Regardless, that's what he's been credited for, is casting out the serpents. Now, could we talk figuratively? If the Baal worshipers, if the pagans were also serpent worshipers, or right, maybe that's what it's also, it's literal and figurative. He cast those people out. But that is, I mean, that's no small feat if you think about it. I mean, that's a life lived in faith. It's a life where he prayed. That's another thing too. There's long suffering in the story. He was a teenager, and he was kidnapped from his family as a slave, and he prayed every single day diligently, uneducated, no text, no Bible to study, just in his heart connected with God. And God gave him a vision of what he was going to do to Ireland, and led him out of slavery, and told him when to go down to the shore to jump on the boat to go back home. Right.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but you said he was captured and turned into a slave. Who do you think captured him?
Pagans.
And Ireland. Who do you think these pagans are?
Well, so there's something called the it may be referred to sometimes as like a Celtic diaspora, but there's a Celtic movement that came out of essentially the Greeks and the Romans, believe it or not, and they were pushed northward, and they had a tradition. The eldest son of the family was told to go as far as possible away to start his family, and they just spread across Europe into everywhere from the Alps to France and Spain and Germany, into parts of Scandinavia, parts of Russia, and then to this day it's called the Celtic Fringe. Just a few edges of the world. We're talking Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Britain, which is not I'm sorry, is it Breton? It's an island off the coast of France where they still speak Gaelic to this day. That's the Celtic Fringe, what's left. But they went across Europe in the Neolithic era. They're the ones that worshipped at the stone circles. We don't know, did they build them? We don't know how they would have built those giant structures. That's up for debate. You and I would have our own versions of that. They were a warlike people who went into battle naked. The Romans would conscript them into battle whenever possible, because of their fierce warlike nature. They were hard to beat in battle, and they were fearless. So, but anyways, but I mean, if you really look deep, I mean, we all come from the same place. Anyways, I mean, all of humanity comes from Ham, Japheth, and Shem, right? So to beleaguer the debate on where they come from genetically is a moot point, because we know it comes from Noah. But at the end of the day, those early birthplaces of civilization, Greco-Roman Europe, the Greeks, I believe the Celts were born out of that. And over time, they developed their own identity as they went across Spain and France and Europe. And probably in the Ice Age, a lot of them made it over the ice bridge from France in Normandy into what is now Great Britain. Sorry, is that too much info? But that's
no, that's really good. You also said another word that makes me think of, okay, modern day kind of stuff. Headhunter.
Hmm.
Now today you think about headhunters, you're thinking about employment and people trying to get a job. So what is that all about? How does that apply,
Well,
you think?
all right. You just made my synapses fire there, buddy. So think about it like this. When you are employed by a boss and you are working for taxes and your mortgage, mortgage, the death
Mortgage,
pledge,
yep.
mortgage, your death pledge.
Yep.
What is a headhunter? Well, a headhunter, if a headhunter takes your head in the Celtic sense, he steals your soul. He possesses your soul. So if your headhunter finds you a job and enslaves you through, he's got your soul.
Dang. Every single time.
I wasn't going there, but you took me there.
The origins of these words, I'm telling you where they come. We don't know where they come from. We don't know the original intent. But here we are like dummies using them every day, like nothing. I don't know if that means that we're getting spells put on us, doing demonic work to ourselves. I don't know. But anything is possible. Spelling, casting a spell, all these kinds of things that they're done by the breath.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And God spoke the earth into existence. Every bit of it. He spoke it. So when you speak, you are affecting your own life. Whether you want to. So if you listen to what other people say about you and you repeat it negatively, then don't be surprised if you get negative results out of your life. If you can break the habit and speak positively over your life, and that's what Jesus does for us. I mean, once we understand that he died on a cross for us, he suffered and died on a cross so you could be reconciled with God, right? So you could be in relationship with him. He did it for you. You could never earn your way into this favor. He did it for you. All that being said, that if once you understand that, then you stop berating yourself and thinking negatively, and you think that you're chosen. You realize you were selected for this journey and that you have purpose on this mission. That's what I was going to lead me into something else too. We're talking about the mortgage and jobs and stealing your soul.
Yep. If
you think about it, I have a friend of mine who's liberal, and years ago he was trying to have a gotcha moment with me, and it didn't work, of course, because my faith is sound, but he says something to me to the effect of like, well, if your Bible is so great, then why is there slavery throughout it? It seems to justify slavery and condone it, huh? And I said, and I looked at him, I'm like, so you don't think that your job and you're paying taxes and you're paying a mortgage is not slavery?
Right.
Well, he's like, I didn't think about it like that. I said,
different form. Yep.
Yeah, it's a different name for the same process. So instead of looking at negatively, like, oh, slavery's condoned in the Bible. No, it was a fact of life then. And you think that you're different because they changed the name, the wording. You're fooling yourself. But here's the thing: despite the fact that slavery is in the Bible, and despite the fact that we're probably living in a version of it now, whether we want to admit it or not, you can still have a blessed life as a slave. You can still live out a life of productivity for the kingdom. This life that we are living here is but a vapor. We are here for a moment, just a moment of time.
Yep.
And death is around the corner for every single one of us, whether we think it's the rapture, or we think that Jesus is coming back, however you want to word it, or you're going to die in your sleep, or you're in a car accident tomorrow. It could be for all of us. It can be at any time. So if you recognize that this is temporary, this is the temporary, that's the eternal, you're going to live a life that's blessed and different than somebody who thinks that they're enslaved, and that, right? Because hey, listen, you and I both know there are extremely wealthy people who live a life of enslavement to their stuff,
yes,
to their bills,
yep,
to their family's standards. The family has very high standards now that they feel like they can never retire or whatever, right? I mean, we're all enslaved to this world if you allow yourself to. But once you submit your heart to Jesus, you are free, despite whether or not you have shackles on or not. Despite whether or not you live in a castle or you live on the street, we're all equal in the eyes of God when our heart is surrendered, right? Sorry, I'm on a tear.
That's all right. Well, I asked you about St. Patty's Day, so that's the one take on there. And look, I'm having, I totally believe in all that.
Now I have a little concern. It's a small one, and I welcome anybody's comments if they want to challenge me on this. I had sort of a reverse thing happen to me that St. Patrick did. Now, what St. Patrick did was he took their pagan traditions and then gave them new meaning and new definition by
Yeah.
applying the scripture to it, right? That's great. I'm glad he did that.
Yep.
But I will say this, for me, what happened to me was I started getting interested in Celtic history, and I started recognizing the pagan origins of these things. And I got sort of backdoor overly interested in the pagan part of it all. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that I was full on pagan, but I mean, I was to the point where symbols and stuff in my house that I don't know the origins of that are Celtic, right? I
They just
thought
look cool to the eye, right?
Yeah, the artwork is cool. I thought it was,
Yeah.
it's fun. It's like, but but I'm telling you, the devil will get you one way or the other if you let your guard down for a minute.
Yep.
And just my love of history left me vulnerable. And that might sound silly to somebody out there, but to me, it was a reality. I'm just throwing that in the hopper too.
Yeah. Well, thanks, brother. That, it makes sense. And, that's part of the reason why I want to ask you about St. Patty's Day, because I knew that you knew about it. We shortened it to Patty's Day. It's actually St. Patrick. It's a real person, right?
Actually, that's not even his real name.
What is the real name?
Let me look that up. Where did I just see that? It was interesting. It's that Patrick was given to him sort of like as a holy name, but that's not his original name.
Okay.
Let's see. I'll find it for you real quick here.
We have, there's some news that came out after we get, what you're just telling me here, but, after you bring up this, St. Patty's real name, go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah.
Maewyn Succat. Maewyn Succat. His birth name is Maewyn Succat. Patrick later taken on during religious journeys or ordainment. So maybe they saw him like, this is pretty cool. I didn't read this, but Peter built the church, the early church. Jesus said to Peter, "You are the rock on which I'll build my church." Okay. Yeah. So maybe in Ireland, he's the Peter of, I said Peter, didn't I? I'm thinking Patrick. I don't know where they got Patrick from. I was going to say he's the Peter. He's the Patrick of Ireland. I don't know where Patrick comes from, but that through some process through the Catholic Church, he was renamed Patrick, but that's not his real name.
Well, listen,
sorry about that.
Hey, no, that's all right. The same, we call it St. Patty's Day. Shelly Pollock says, hello, everyone. Over here on Rumble, we have Ionic Mike. He says, hey, talking about Benny Beebe. We're going to get into that, about the implications and all that stuff. We'll get into all that stuff later. But, there's all kinds of crazy stuff ahead, Outcast. But thanks for putting that on us. And how are you going to spend tomorrow, St. Patty's Day? Are you going to do anything special? Or, look, it's just a Tuesday for me. But we might meet up with a friend or two.
Traditionally, I throw on my kilt and then I'll go down to the Irish pub and just punch Irish people in the nose and see where it goes from there.
There you go.
Scottish. I'm just kidding.
Right.
We're related.
Right. Yep. I hear you. My grandfather, he came from Scotland, and I don't remember a whole lot of if he celebrated any of this Irish tradition, being so close, but I don't remember it.
It's probably pretty lost in the Scottish traditions that I've never heard of it being really talked about a whole lot, but I will say this is an interesting tidbit. Rob Roy McGregor was a famous Robin Hood of Scotland. If you want to look him up, there's lots of books written on him. And according to the books that I've read, Rob Roy on his deathbed requested a priest come in and convert him to Catholicism because the West Highlands of Scotland felt culturally, language-wise, and otherwise an affinity with Ireland. But because of the Reformation of the Church, Catholicism was outlawed on the British Isles. That Scotland, England, Scotland, and Wales was banished. All the Catholic churches were kind of, all the Catholics imagery was taken out of the churches and everything. So if that's true, in 1760 something, I think, 1730, I think is when he died, somewhere around there. Rob Roy his desire was to be allowed to be a Catholic because he was denied that by the British crown. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So there would be, in antiquity, there would be an affinity but I don't know when the tradition started having St. Patrick's Day, if that was after that period of time or not. I'm not sure when it started, but, but there is a connection there in the West Highlands of Scotland for sure. But in the lowlands Scotland, probably not. They wouldn't care.
Right. All right. Well, thanks, brother. No, it makes sense. If you look on the map, you can see all that stuff. I love looking at maps and geography. I dig all that stuff. So, yep. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So St. Patty's Day. Yep. No, we'll probably be going, somewhere, meeting up with some friends or something, but I'm not into all that, drinking, partying and stuff in the morning like that.
That's for the young people now, right?
Right. Shelly Pock says she's working in her green hoodie. Music Lover says, I wore my Lion of Judah hoodie all day. I was out snow blowing all morning and then ended up having to go to into work. So, wow.
I want to see that.
Up there. I
want to see that hoodie.
Yeah, that'd be a nice hoodie to look at. Let's go over to this one, Outcast. Now, I'm talking about Pokemon Go. Remember that Pokemon Go? And
I was just thinking about it.
Isn't that crazy? Well, during that
wow.
time, I people started, the kids, all the kids getting their smartphones out and going and chasing things that weren't there. But on the phone screen, they were there, right? You could see it. You could see something, these little Pokemon creatures or, getting awards, a game, online game, right? Remember all that stuff? And I started telling parents, I was like, all they're doing, and the reason I got this thought is because of the robots, the vacuum robots. Remember you put in the house? The ones that are, you hook to the Wi-Fi if you're going to do it. No, don't do that. Don't do that because it's mapping the inside of the house. And it's got a camera and it's taking video and pictures and everything. Remember that lady got up in the middle of the night and, she went to the bathroom. She went to go pee, right? Somehow she ended up finding a picture of herself sitting on the toilet from the perspective of that vacuum on the floor.
Oh my gosh.
Freaked her out. You remember that, right? We talked about that on the show. Yeah, we talked about it on the show. So, I always told people, I said, you better cut it out. Look, I was an early adopter of the smart technology, the self-monitoring, analysis, and reporting technology. I was early on with that. I was way ahead of me. I got called all kinds of names. Still do. Because I told you that all these appliances and light bulbs, everything's listening to us. The Internet of Things, the smart meter, all of it. Well, Pokemon Go played a big part in it. And I got called names by my friends, by the parents. When I told them, I said, your kids, you shouldn't be doing that. They're, especially around your backyard, your neighborhood and all that stuff. I said, you're just mapping things out for data. And they're like, oh, no, stop being all conspiracy theorists and all that stuff. I said, no. It's true. Do you think this is for free? It's the same thing as those apps where remember the aging apps on Facebook and all that stuff? They would put your face in there and then they would age it. Remember it was so fun.
Oh,
everybody should do it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That same thing with that. They're mapping stuff out. They're doing all kinds of things. And, Pokemon Go, it just came out. Some news. You wanted me to read it? I'm going to read it no matter what. I got this from Man in America with Seth Goodwin, right?
Seth Wholehouse.
Or Wholehouse. He posted this. I don't know where he got it from, but I saw it somewhere else too. But I'm going to read his version of it. Pokemon Go was never about Pokemon. I'm so glad to hear this or read this. Actually, I don't like it, but here's something most people don't know. Once you understand it, you'll see the pattern everywhere. Yes, over 8 years, 143 million people thought they were playing a game called Pokemon Go. They're running around, phones out, capturing little cartoon characters. What they were actually doing was building one of the world's largest visual data sets in AI history. 30 billion real-world images collected, documenting landmarks, storefronts, parks, and sidewalks from every possible angle in every lighting condition at all times of the day. Things no mapping vehicle could ever have captured systematically, right? Because they're on their feet walking around in small spaces, small areas. A junior developer who worked as a contractor for Niantic, that's what it is. That's what I'm saying. Back in 2019 came out, and this is what he said, Outcast. He says, we were literally told to ignore the game bugs and focus on the spatial mesh accuracy. We weren't making a game. We were building a one-to-one digital twin of the planet for military-grade surveillance. This isn't just for delivery robots. They have your front door map from 50 different angles. Wake up. They needed you to do what government surveillance operation never could have done openly. So they gave you a game. You played it. You mapped everything, and you were happy to do it. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a business strategy. And the same strategy behind every, quote, free app you ever used, every smart doorbell camera you ever installed, every voice assistant you've invited into your bedroom, the what do they call the Alexas and the Google ones and all those ones that you have sitting up on your everything's listening. There are 30 million Ring cameras across America right now. You bought them, you installed them, you pay Amazon every month to maintain them. The surveillance state didn't break your door down. You welcomed it in and you gave it a key. That's your Pokemon Go, and that's everything else, Outcast, about the Internet of Things. And I got laughed at for telling parents of this.
Very, very intuitive on your part, and good for you. I'm glad you feel a little vindicated by that article. I will say this: it's interesting that they rolled that out, I think, during COVID, and everybody was so cooped up that it was like the one of the things you could go out and do was walk around the neighborhood. I saw people in my neighborhood walking, and it was so funny, Jesse, that you brought this up, because literally, like yesterday on Sunday, I was driving through my neighborhood. I was coming home from church, and I was like, remember when people were walking around looking at their phones?
Yeah. Yep.
I remember that. Man, the Matrix is wild. Every time there's a topic, it keeps coming up. But so they cooped up everybody, made everybody stir crazy, and they said, "Don't you want to get out there and walk around and do some what do you call it? Scavenger hunt with Pokemon?"
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "Okay, I'll do that. I'm bored. I'm stuck in the house. Get some fresh air, right?"
Yeah,
and
for
they
sure.
just nab data off of everybody.
That's what they were doing, and mapping everything. Look, wherever the cars had the streets and the sidewalks all taken care of, and the alleys, right? But the cars, you still see them around. You see Waymo doing that stuff now. I went by one the other day, and it's crazy. What those cars could not do and reach, well, the people on foot with their cell phones were able to do. Think about trails and things where cars can't get into. Think about parks, city parks, country parks, county, federal parks, right? National parks. Think about basements, abandoned buildings, your house, your basement, your bedroom, your bathroom. Think about all the stuff. The kids were running around the houses playing stuff. They were mapping your house. You put that with the technology of those vacuums together. Boy, you got a view right from the ground. Then you got a view right from face level. Put those together. What do you have?
So are you saying the camera, so when people were doing Pokemon Go outside, it was actually filming and recording that way too? So it was actually getting visual data, as it wasn't just satellite data.
Live transmitting back to this company, Niantic. Yeah, it looks like you're froze up. But yeah, this is live transmitting. All these, look, the TVs, the cameras, all the cameras that are everywhere on your house, your car, your television, your phone, everything, they all can be accessed remotely. Okay, we think it's off because we put the phone down or whatever. They're never off. Same with the microphones. They're never off. Okay, they can be opened up, controlled. Look at all those experiments from laptops. You remember people started putting tape on their laptops? I did. I put tape on everything. Yeah, they're always doing that stuff. Keep going, Outcast. I'm checking out all these. Looks like we have a lot of people starting to jump into the chat.
I'm reminded of an old story that I've probably told on the show many times before, but I got to say it again. I met somebody who was friends with the I believe it was the governor of Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And they went to a party at their house, and the governor's wife at the time took a coat and she put it over the TV, and then she looked at the guests and said, "They're always watching us."
Yeah.
The governor's wife knew that they were spying through the TV, which that's another thing that people said, "Oh, it's a conspiracy theory." You went, what are they going to look at? Me sitting there watching TV? Well, who cares? Well, for some reason, they do care.
Yeah, they do care.
Big Brother is watching.
Yep. I got the, I think it was my cousin. He got the first smart TV, and I've been against smart TVs ever since. And I told him, I said, "No, there's a camera in there." He goes, "No, there's not. Where's the camera at?" I said, "Right there, somewhere on the edge. On that, see that black area around the edge?" So there's a camera and a microphone. They can listen to it. and open it up. And he's like, no way. So I said, well, here's the manual. It's in the manual. In the back of the manual, you could, I guess, turn it off or think you're turning that off, but it's there. Look at your phones right now. Look at the front facing screen. Does it look like there's a camera there? No, but there is. When you look at it in sunlight, you can see a tiny little camera, and these little cameras are so small. And the ones that are out right now are just so advanced. Look, they can put these little things anywhere. Yeah, go ahead.
The way this AI is gathering data too, imagine this, as you're doing this, and it films something that you're seeing.
Yeah.
And then it's checking the nuances of your facial expressions.
Yes. Yeah. It's recording all that at the same time.
Learning,
Sorry.
It's gathering data and learning how you react. Yep. And then the music lover says, why didn't the governors just unplug the TV? Well, the theory goes that with fiber optic cable, it doesn't even have to be plugged in, that the fiber optics will allow visual to come and go both ways.
That's right.
So I'm guessing, not sure, this was not part of the story, but I'm assuming that's why she didn't bother to unplug it, because it didn't matter.
Yeah. When you take the electricity out, that doesn't matter as long as there's still a line. It's the same thing. Remember when the Wii came out and it had that bar? And so you could dance and it would map everybody in the room and dancing around. That's the same technology right there. If you would turn the game off, I think Xbox has, they all probably have that same thing now. But I remember in the Wii was that long white bar with the whole set of cameras in the front, and it's picking up everything. Well, you could turn the game off, go upstairs or do whatever, leave the game there. But that camera, as long as it's plugged in and still getting a signal, it is always on and people can see it. And look what it was doing in your living room. It would map, say you're dancing and you're playing a game or playing the golf or whatever it is. And as soon as somebody walks in behind you in the living room, that thing picked them up and you would see the lines and then, it would turn into the character and all that. Imagine that's happening, but your TV is off and somebody else is seeing that stuff. That's exactly what's going on. Okay. I was trying to tell people this, and they were like, no, that can't happen. That's not, I said, look, you can't just unplug it. There's also microphones. So you got to make sure it's unplugged from the line. So you can take the power out, but if it still has a cable hook up to it, it's still reading and able to pick up. So I made sure the kids, they would unplug everything and then just turn it down on its face so that it was pointing down. And they got used to that. So, but I always made sure it was unplugged from the whole system anyway, not just, power. But Outcast, we got to get a prayer from you, brother. We got a little bit too far. We got a little long in the tooth is what I'm saying. So
holy cow, 7:45.
I know, it's crazy. We got a lot of stuff to cover too. So let's take care of this and bless our heads, brother.
Dear Heavenly Father, Adonai, El Shaddai, Yahweh, Elohim, Lord, we love you and we worship you and we praise your name. We thank you for every gift and every blessing that you've bestowed upon us, Lord. We thank you for your hedge of protection, a mighty hedge of protection that you put around us and promising us that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. Lord, we cry out to you in our darkest hours and you are there. You always respond. We seek the refuge and shelter underneath your wings, Lord. We want to just be close to you in our time of need, and you're always reciprocative, and you are always there for us, Lord. We thank you for healing us of our past wounds and pains and trauma, healing us physically, healing us emotionally and spiritually. We thank you, Lord, for delivering us from the darkness that we allowed into our lives through our bad behavior and through our unforgiveness in our hearts. We thank you for the redemptive nature of Jesus Christ and his shed blood. By accepting him, that we can be brought back into the family and grafted into the family of Abraham and become soldiers for you, just as we were once running from you, Lord. Lord, we thank you for just the peace that you bring to us in our lives and the removal of anxiety and stress and fear and worry. Lord, we look around us and the world is on fire. It is fallen apart, Lord, but somehow when we recenter our hearts on you, we find peace and we find wholeness and we find strength to persevere yet another day. And we thank you for that, Lord. We thank you for that courage that you give us. We thank you for that love and that support, that we feel you are in our corner. You are standing there right there with us in the battle. Lord, I pray for anybody out there who is struggling right now. They may be struggling with financial issues, the relationship issues with family and friends who've rejected them because of their faith. Maybe they're struggling with trying to find a mate, and it's just hard. People are broken out there, and there's people who are superficial that just don't see the beauty in them. But Lord, we pray that they will just focus on you and find comfort in you and be able to tune out what the world thinks of them and rather focus on what you think of them, that you pre-chose them. In Ephesians 1:4, for you chose them before the foundation of the earth was laid to be holy and blameless in your sight, Lord. In love, you predestined us into sonship, into familyship with you through Jesus Christ for your good and perfect will. What a beautiful and amazing thought. Who cares what anybody thinks of us, Lord, as long as we have you and we can feel your love and your involvement in our lives. Lord, I thank you for this podcast. I thank you for the hard work of Jesse's vision of this podcast and how it has reached and affected many people's lives that we could never anticipated. Lord, we pray that every single listener out there feels that they are part of a family, that they are not alone, and that there's people who think like them and people that they can gather around, and that's us, and that we can be a level of support for them, Lord. So work into us and through us and into the lives of our listeners, and may our listeners find happiness and peace knowing that they're not alone. Lord, we pray that you will protect this episode from any technical glitches, from the prince of the air that likes to mess around with technology and harass us in his pathetic, just lowly ways that he does. Lord, may no one be intimidated by his antics. May every single one of us that feels like we're under attack just stand firm and know that greater is he. This is 1 John 4:4. Greater is he who is in us than he who is in the world. That is you, Jesus Christ. You are in us. You indwell with us. We are your tabernacle. Live within us and help us to stand firm against the schemes of the enemy. May none of us be daunted or confused or worried by anything that he does. May we just laugh in his face because he's already defeated. And the only reason he's acting out is because time is short and judgment is coming, the final judgment that's going to cast him into hell. And that's why he hates us so bad, because we are children of God. We are going to heaven and he cannot. So help us to rescue those around us who are in darkness, other people who we see around us. Help us to look for fertile ground, not to waste our time with people who are in active, constant defiance of you, but help us to say the right thing at the right time. Let us not miss opportunities. May we speak in grace, seasoned with salt, so we can lure in those people who are desperately seeking something other than what this broken, rotten, filthy world has to offer. Free us and loose us, Lord, of all the garbage of this world. Break us of our addictions. Break us of our obsessions. Break us of our greed. Break us of our unforgiveness. Break us of our pathetic thinking and worldly ways of seeing the world, but rather help us to rise to a new way of seeing things in the way that you want us to see them. So align our hearts and minds with the heart and mind of Christ so that we can go into the world and shine the light and hold the line until you return, Lord. We love you, Lord. Bless this episode. Bless everyone out there listening and work in us. May words come out of our mouths that have meaning that the listener can apply to their lives. And may everyone out there know that we value them and appreciate them and love them with all of our hearts and minds. In Jesus Christ's holy, precious name, we pray these things. Amen.
Amen, brother. Thank you. Yes, laser focused prayers, what I'm saying. Excellent. Look, before we go to our break, do you want to see that shirt Music Lover sent? Yeah. It's a pretty good one, you guys. You might want to check it out. So Music Lover says, amen, Outcast. Thank you so much. And let's go see if I can find this shirt. She sent it. And now I lost it. I'm looking. Hold on, you guys. Hold on 1 second.
She sent two.
Did she? Well, I've got the one.
You have the Irish looking one?
Yeah. I think that's the one I have.
There's also the Line of Judah one has a great graphic too. I saw that.
This might be it right here. No, that's not it. Did you see that? Oh, that's crazy. Where is it? Oh, I'm just going to have to pull it up live and do it live. Here we go. All right. So that's the one right there, you guys. It's from Reformed Sage. Yeah. reformedsage.com. And luck is for heretics. Heretics. Sorry. Heretics. So reformedsage.com. Check that out. That's a really cool shirt. Notice
that is a cool shirt.
The four leaves on that clover.
And a
not
skull.
Three.
Yeah.
Yep, not three and the skull. So that's a pretty cool shirt.
I wonder what the banner says underneath it. I can't read it.
Proverbs. Hang on, I'll bring it up. Check it out. I'll bring it up higher. It says Proverbs 16:33.
Okay, 16.
Yeah. 16:33. Yeah. What is it?
It says, The lot is cast into the lap, but its every decision is from the Lord.
How does that relate to the shirt?
So when people say, "Oh, my luck, oh, I have such bad luck," and "Oh, I hope good luck." Okay, really, honestly, that's pagan talk.
That's hope. Yeah,
we say, God willing. We say those types of things, right?
Right.
So this is saying that the lot is cast into the lap. I'm guessing that there was probably, you've heard of casting lots. That's like casting dice almost. It says the lot is cast into the lap, but every decision is from the Lord. So that means even how the lots land, that's from the Lord.
Okay.
There is no luck. Everything is God or is God.
All right. I like it. I dig it. You guys go check that out. It's reformedsage.com. No affiliation or anything whatsoever, but it's a cool looking shirt is what I'm saying for maybe next St. Patty's Day. St. Patty's Day, all right? All right, you guys, listen, let's take a quick break. And on the other side, we're going to get into some other stuff. We're going to be talking about the Goy Slop outcast, Netanyahu, kosher and clean ingredients, maybe some non-human entities, and a lot more fun like that. Remember, we got into that in last week's show at the end? Well, people seem to like all that stuff. So we're going to add some more of that stuff at the end of this. And the next episode, who knows? Maybe we'll open the phone lines if somebody wants to call and give us a talk. So listen, we'll be back on the other side. Just hang in there is what I'm saying. This is the Dangerous Info Podcast.
What are you doing home from school?
They sent me home. Measles.
It's either measles or a strange case of red freckles.
You have got a temperature.
They told me 101.1. What's the record?
Never mind.
Oh, are you sure it's the measles?
Well, he certainly got all the symptoms. A slight temperature, a lot of dots, and a great big smile.
A great big smile.
No school for a few days.
Say hello to my dotted son for me. Tell him I'll bring him some comic books and I'll see you later, dear.
Okay, honey, bye.
Boy, this is the life, isn't it? Yeah. If you have to get sick, you sure can't beat the measles. That's right. No medicine.
Inside or out, like shots, I mean.
Don't even mention shots. Yuck!
Measles, measles, measles. Well, all the kids have now had the measles.
So have I.
Well, I had them years ago. Looks like the Bradys are finished with the measles.
Hold it. You're not through yet.
Alice, don't tell me you're coming down with the measles.
Oh, I hope so. I'd hate to think I was just learning how to blush at my age.
How do you feel?
I'm fine. Dad says I should go to school.
7 students confirmed with measles, 4 others possible.
How? They had to have been vaccinated.
These moms never vaccinated their kids and lied about it. Vaccines are harmful.
You are endangering the health of every child in this city. Blue. No, it's turning blue. Call 911.
Yup. This is the lunacy they're gaslighting you with. You're listening to the Dangerous Info Podcast. The Dangerous Info Podcast.
Yes, that's right, Outcast.
That was amazing. That's so funny, that back-to-back.
Oh, man. I knew when I saw that episode from, I don't know what is it? Not the Brady's. It was the other one.
Oh, I don't know.
It's a current,
stupid.
Yeah, it's a current show that, gaslighting out there, mainstream media nonsense crap, but I knew I had to put those together. Yeah, that's something like that. And they took it so crazy and seriously, and here we are all grown up in the 70s and 80s, and it's like, what, measles? Go play with that kid over there. He's got the measles and chickenpox too. Oh, it's crazy.
Shelley Pollack says that she's never had chickenpox or measles. I don't think I have either.
Let me see. I don't believe I have either. I can't remember, but we did have to go play with the kids that had it. I remember that. I remember all my cousins have it and everything, but maybe I was too young, man. Maybe I had the pox and didn't. Who knows? Oh, it's just a completely different time. Same kind of sicknesses, right? But completely different time. Yes, Shelly says shingles for adult chickenpox. That's what I heard. Yeah, a friend of mine had that a couple years ago. He says it hurt. Yeah, his skin was itching and everything. Yeah. But yeah, it does. 313 Boot Boy says chicken pox for me sucked because I got it the first day of summer break after second grade. Oh yeah, that's crazy. He says funny story is I had a little scar from it on my forehead. Kids asked me what happened, so I told them my sister shot me in the forehead with the BB gun and threw me out the window. Everybody believed me. Yeah, you were the hero. That's awesome.
I love it.
I like it. Solomon's in the house. Hey, Solomon. He says amen tonight. Okay.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, he's over on YouTube.
Buddy. I'm glad you could join us, brother. That's awesome.
Oh, right there. Solomon right there.
Yep, Solomon Keithley.
Awesome.
God bless
Good
you.
to see everybody. Yeah, I'm glad to see everybody in here and having a great time is what I'm saying. So, listen, we need to get into talk about this Goy Slop, so it's a pretty popular thing. It's been around for a little bit, but I'm sure not everybody's heard about it. But Goy Slop, obviously, Outcast, you sent us some stuff today about it that I kind of had on my radar to talk about too, right? So, do you want to, preface this by anything? I've got a couple of clips I'm going to play. And then the first one is this girl, this woman talking about the Goy Slop, and she gets fired up just like we would, and we did. And then I'm going to follow that up by the guy going to the grocery store because it plays right in hands with things that I always thought. Yeah, it just completely. Let me see. Trump one over here on pill.net says, yes, when you got the virus, it ran its course, right? Exactly. Talking about the measles and the pox. So crazy times, Outcast. It's just crazy times. And if you pay attention to the mainstream media, you're going to be in there getting jabbed and poked in the arm and all this kind of nonsense, craziness. So don't do that. Okay. Stop with that stuff. All right. Let's get into some Goy Slop. So first of all, Outcast, I called you a goyim a few weeks ago. Right. And we laughed about it. But tell me why did I call you that? What does that mean?
Well, Goyim is Ashkenazi Jew for cattle.
There you go. Yep.
It's how they see us. And that might shed some light onto why we work so hard, maybe. Why, what we're doing here in this whole world that we live in is if you're viewed like cattle. We talked about that earlier about feeling enslaved at times, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a very, and then it turns out that, it's not just a rare trope that's used in certain circles because it's all over the Epstein files.
Right. We're all the Goyim. Yeah. I told you we need to get some shirts that say Goyim on there. Remember those ones that used to go around that said infidel on them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
the same thing.
Yeah.
And those military guys, they'd wear the infidel shirts.
I'm glad we can laugh about it because at the end of the day, I mean, what makes Christianity unique is that we are called to love and to see everybody in as children of God. That's what Christ calls us to do, right? He loves he wants to save the world. He is not looking for a particular race or a particular anything. He doesn't want you to have a certain IQ. He doesn't care how rich you are, how poor you are, how smart you are, how dumb you are. He just loves you just the way you are.
Mm-hmm.
So when you hear of a group of people wanting to refer to us as cattle, it shows a superiority in their own mindset, which is it is counter to how God sees humanity. Right?
And put us into usury, use us for the goals and the needs that they want to achieve, make us go out there and do it so they can get it achieved. It wasn't just as simple as being a chattel, but also slaves to their every demand and wish. And if we don't do what they want and wish, well, then they have the the wherewithal, the self authority to beat us and spit on us, right? We've seen all that going on. Anytime somebody was in a particular area and started holding up, you're talking about Jesus or holding up Jesus signs or crosses, they would get spit on because we're just goyim. It's crazy, Outcast.
Well, that attempt to elevate oneself by looking down on others and considering them to be lesser than you it's an attempt to absolve themselves from the guilt that you would normally feel if you hurt somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can just justify that they're nothing more than cattle, then you don't care that you enslave them or keep them from ever being able to get ahead because of the amount of death that they have. incurred. Lending on interest in the Torah is against the rules. You're not supposed to do that. That's against God's will. But if you can say that somebody is lesser than you in the genetic scale on some level, then you get to feel good about yourself while you're ripping them off, right?
Right.
It's insidious. It's an insidious. But Jesus calls us to love equally everybody.
Right.
So that's,
amen.
Yeah, it's a different way of looking at the world, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
for
a
sure.
very, very, very different way of looking at things.
All right. Well, I think we've done enough setup here. Let's get into what this girl is talking about, the Goy Slop. And pay attention, you guys, because next time you go grocery shopping, you will see exactly what we're talking about and what these people are trying to portray. And in a way, I've always looked at it this way, Outcast, because of organic and all these things. But are you guys ready for some Goy Slop? Let's switch on over here. All right, she's got it. We got about 4.5 minutes of this. And Outcast, if you want me to stop at any time, we'll stop and talk about it. Here we go.
I want to speak to every generation that came after a millennial right now, because this is actually massively important. There's this new trend going around called Goy Slop, where basically like fitness and health content creators are now realizing that every single product in American grocery stores, right down to your cleaning products, your body soap, your shampoo, your conditioner, your Windex,
I just want to bring this up before she gets into it further. Remember the terms kosher and halal. That meant a lot to me when I heard all this stuff. Then I finally realized all those years ago what I kept hearing these words. Let's keep going.
Your food, your cereal, your protein, your meat, so on and so forth, is Goy Slop. And Goy Slop is basically food that they intentionally poison to get you sick while charging you for something that doesn't even cure it, really just treats the symptoms, right? So the pharmaceutical companies own the food manufacturing companies, own the farmland, and they're all in bed with the government. And that's why they call it Goy Slop, because our government is currently being ran by the Prime Minister of Israel, who hates Goyams, who hates Shiksas and Gentiles and anybody he doesn't deem to be a Semitic Jew, even though he isn't even a fucking Semitic Jew. I know, it's ironic. It's a lot. Just try and follow along, because the point of the post is actually this. It's actually very important that you start.
I saw you laughing.
Right.
You good? You
no,
good?
No, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to warn you guys. There's some language because she gets fired up. She gets worked. Here we go.
Paying attention to what goes into your body. That's not a conspiracy. It's not a sales pitch. It's not some hippy dippy tree hugger trying to convince you that you need to eat healthy or be one with the earth. No, they are intentionally fucking poisoning you. And let me tell you something as a fucking millennial. Goy Slop didn't become popular until the early 2000s, like closer to 2010. That's really when like all of this shit went mainstream. And I can tell you with definitive certainty that growing up, childhood sickness and obesity weren't a thing. Nobody had diabetes or thyroid problems. You know, it was very rare that people were overweight. And if they were, it's usually because they had poor eating habits. This massive amount of obesity that's everybody has to take prescription drugs to lose weight. A calorie deficit and a balanced diet are no longer an option. And when I tell you guys that my generation didn't even grow up eating this, but every single person I know started struggling with their weight around the same time. I have a friend who is now 41 years old. By 35, she had 2 strokes, is blind in one eye. I had 2 other friends before 35 had to get full hysterectomies. I have another friend before age 35 had to have her thyroid removed, and now her spine is deteriorating in her body. This shit is actually fucking deadly. It's batshit insane. There aren't that many sick people. That is a statistical anomaly. They are intentionally making us sick. The Goy Slop decreases your hormones. It gives you cancer. It gives you obesity. And then they're withholding cures. The rest of the world has cures for these diseases, whereas the United States has a treatment that makes you another customer. So fall down the rabbit hole of fucking Goy Slop and start finding healthy alternatives, because like literally you get one body. You get one fucking body. And I am telling you right now, as a 41-year-old woman, I struggle massively with my weight. I'm on a constant calorie deficit. I have to go to the gym 5 days a week. That's non-sustainable on your muscles and your joints. Your body does start to break down, and then I don't have anything nutritious going into my body. Right now, they're trying to diagnose me with what they think is an autoimmune disease that I'm convinced I got from the COVID vaccine, that I only took because my job gave me a free year of health insurance.
She fell for it, Outcast. That sucks, but she's waking up. Listen, we got a minute left.
If I did. Nonetheless, you know, you could go on for days and days and days and days and days about this, but Goy Slop is real, okay? It is now a confirmed fact that they are 100% feeding us poison so that they can withhold the cure and turn us into another customer to feed us a treatment of it. And that's fucking sick and seditious. So again, your life literally depends upon you taking heed to this advice. And if there's anybody out there who can create a list of non-Goy Slop products, that would be awesome. I would drop that all over my page. But other than that, that's all I really have to talk about today. I'm off to church. It's Lent. Stay prayed up. Evil Satan worshippers are currently controlling our world and feeding us poison while raping and eating our babies at Epstein Island. See?
Even though she fell for it, even though she fell for that jab, she's on point right here, Outcast. Go ahead. You understand what I'm saying?
Dude, I did not send you that video. I have not seen that before. So that I don't know where that came from, but she ain't wrong about any of it. They're not feeding the rest of the world this stuff. So I think there's even I can't help but think there's a greater purpose in all this too, feeding us garbage, is that if you have a armed citizenry like the United States has and a constitution, and you cannot win in a kinetic war, how do you bring it down? You have to bring it down from within. How do you do that? You have to attack every single thing that makes us strong and healthy and mentally sharp. Okay. So that could be using Hollywood music and culture to create more single parent homes. You know, so you destroy the family union, you destroy the education system, you destroy the health, and you take over the medical system, and you enslave from within, and not a shot has to be fired. That's what I think a lot of this is about too. But you know, the whole concept that she's got here, she's not wrong. She's right about all of it. Why are they feeding us this garbage? And, you know, and their answer is at the very simplest level is that there's money to be made on the other end of it when we're sick. Another thing that she mentioned too is, you know, she mentioned it's our body. You only get one. What have I been saying for the last couple of weeks? This, once you are a believer in Christ, this is Yahweh's tabernacle.
Yes. Tabernacle.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're attacking the tabernacle of God. How do you like that?
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, to put it in simple terms, very simple terms, Goy Slop is the American diet.
It is.
Okay? It's our food, you guys. It's our food. You know what pig slop is, right? I grew up on hunting in a farm. They had pigs. What do we give them? Pig slop.
Garbage.
Because they eat and process anything very fast.
And everybody I know that goes to Europe on vacation loses weight, and they ate like kings. They ate well, and they lost weight. And everybody goes, well, it's because you walk so much in Europe. And it's like, yeah, I don't, maybe.
Think about the gluten that we have here. Think about all these things. My daughter was there, for 2 months last summer. She lived there in Spain. She could eat everything. The spaghetti noodles, the bread, all of it. She could eat it all. Okay, she comes back here. She can't eat that stuff. It hurts her belly. She doesn't like it. You know, I'm not a fan of all that stuff either. Me, you know how I like to roll. I'm big on meats and water and cheese and eggs, you know, but I can pretty much eat anything. It doesn't really bother me. But so many people, even in the family, that it does bother them. But when you're getting fed Goy Slop and you don't realize it, it's going to take its toll. You know, we think we're going out there and trying to do the right things. No, it's not there. I have more. I've got more. Go ahead.
Every time I eat processed food, I feel crummy. I feel gross. I feel
we're not supposed to be eating
tired.
Yeah. 313 Boot Boy. He says, dude, honestly, this is one of the main reasons I have gone into keto diet and buying majority of my meats from local Polish Italian butchers. There you go. Yep. And that's pretty much the reason why I have three different ranchers now that I buy beef from, Outcast, and they're all grass fed. I know where they're at. They're all local. It seems to me the way to go. My chickens give us fresh eggs daily over here. They're starting to lay again right now because it's nice out. Getting better. But listen, Goy Slop is pig slop that they give us, the Americans.
Do you have that other video that I sent about the kosher shopping?
Well, I'm gonna play one. That dude, right? Is that he's in? So. Yeah, let's go to it right now. So this is a guy. So remember, I said keep in mind halal and kosher, and also think organic in your head. And I'm gonna get some organic stuff here in a minute, but let's go over to this video and see what this guy's got going. He's in a supermarket now, a grocery store. You'll probably go to it tomorrow.
All right, I want you to check this out because it's real. This shit is real, what they say. Watch this. Keep these ingredients, bro. Unbleached wheat, flour, water, salt, right? No poison.
Now he's in the aisle where the kosher section is, and he's just reading products off the shelf. This is for all you audio listeners who aren't watching this. He's just standing there in the kosher section, little section, right? Reading off the ingredients of these boxes.
In here, watch this. Even this, right? Check this out. Look at these ingredients. Sulfite-free coconut, invert sugar, tapioca starch, egg whites. Super clean foods, bro. But only for them. Here's another one. Watch this. Look at this. Unbleached wheat, flour, salt, and water. Wow. No preservatives, no seed oils. Oh, and look at that. Of course, New Jersey. And product of. Can't make this shit up, yo. It's crazy. Literally everything here, seed oil free, processed sugar free. They get the best of the best while we get the Goy Slop. It's real. Shit is real, bro. I'm gonna start eating kosher now, every time.
This whole time, Outcast, when I was telling you about kosher and halal, and I always had friends that would eat that stuff, and I didn't know why. I know that they had there's a friend who has had a wedding. I'm talking back in the 90s, and he was getting married, right? And for some reason we were talking about the gift registry. And I was looking through, and somebody else I was looking through, and one of us said, "What's all this? It's all kosher pots and kosher." It did make sense to us. I was like, "What the heck is kosher mean?" I only thought of kosher pickles. I just thought it was the flavored pickles that I like them. I didn't realize it was attached to some sort of religion. Is that proper? Is that correct to say? I didn't know that. At the time, I was just like, what do you mean kosher pots and pans? What? Well, they're meaning pans that aren't going to kill you with nonstick stuff on them and give you Alzheimer's and give you dementia and all these things. While we are out here making eggs and cooking stuff on all these nonstick pans and scratching that stuff off using metal forks and metal utensils and scratching that off in your food. And now 30, 40, 50, 60 years later, you see our grandparents getting Alzheimer's, dementia, whatever it is, this whole time. And they're sitting there cooking and eating and drinking out of kosher, clean cooking preparation materials. Drink out of glass, not plastic. Use stainless steel. Use cast iron, real things. And here we are eating plastic and metal coatings. It's crazy.
So I saw a comment here from Music Lover, and I agree. I've never heard of kosher cookware. They have, because as far as I knew, kosher means that it was blessed by a priest. But so I always kind of thought, well, why would I pay extra for kosher? I'm going to line the pocket of a priest not a priest, of a rabbi. Why would I line the pocket of a rabbi by paying maybe extra for kosher? I always that was my logic. So I'm like, I'm not going to buy kosher. But now I'm learning that they have cleaner food. But are you saying that they have kosher cookware that has less toxins in it?
Yep. Yes.
So that means, I think, so the code word kosher makes the goyim think that it's just been blessed by a rabbi.
Right.
But now we're learning that it's actually code for them, that it's non-toxic. Is that in every regard?
Exactly. Now, don't forget, kosher is also used in a sentence a lot of times. Well, that sounds kosher.
Not kosher.
Yeah, that's not kosher.
That's not kosher.
Right. Think about that stuff. We didn't know what they were talking about. We didn't know.
It's got a whole new meaning.
Kosher's clean. Kosher's organic. We were never told. But back in the 90s, that really freaked me out. They have to eat off kosher silverware. Some of it's real silverware. Okay. When I'm saying silver, I mean silver, not this, chrome plated zinc junk metal that flakes off and gets into your body. No. I'm talking about clean everything, you guys. None of that plastic. No. Glass, stainless steel, cast iron, wooden utensils. That would all fall under kosher. Go ahead.
Have you ever noticed this, Jesse, that when you buy, let's say, mixed nuts from the store,
mm-hmm.
and it comes down a plastic container?
Yeah.
In very short amount of time, those nuts turn bad. Like,
yes, they're absorbing.
It is nasty, dude. That is such a bad trip when that happens. I hate that.
Yeah. If you can buy in bulk, do that.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody else. They said years ago, and they said that they went to a potluck at a house where the owner of the home was like the CEO of a major plastic company. Okay. And they went to the potluck and they came in with Tupperware,
mm-hmm.
and the wife of the owner of the home said, No, you can't bring any plastic in here. We're only serving food out of glass. He was the head of a plastic company, and plastic was forbidden in his house, especially in regards to food.
Yeah. Yep.
And
I learned a lot from this kid. Yeah, I learned a lot from this kid back in the 90s, and he was younger than I was. I believe he's still married, got a bunch of kids now and stuff, but she had to convert to Judaism in order to get married. He was, I haven't seen him in years. I wonder what he's up to. In Kegel, that's where they grew up at, just not too far from right in between me and you. Not too far, but yeah.
And I've kind of heard that the concept of making somebody convert is sort of not kosher.
Yeah.
Because you're in the Jewish tradition, you are not Jewish unless your mother's Jewish and her mother was Jewish and her mother was Jewish and her mother was Jewish. You got to be Jewish on your mother's side. So if you marry a Gentile woman and she converts, their children will never be considered Jewish. So that's kind of a misnomer. That conversion is sort of like it's a gesture, but you're probably taking an oath that you won't try to tell them about Yeshua. That's probably all it means.
Music Lover says, it just sounds just like when Bill Gates said his teens had limited phone use and couldn't just play with their phones at home. Pre-smartphone too. Yeah. Same with Steve Jobs. He says, no, my kids, they'll never have an iPad or phones, these Apple products. No. So when I talk about this food in halal, I guess is the same thing, but I saw that Music Lover put something in there, Outcast. But halal was supposed to be clean too. They don't eat the pork, right? The pork in the Bible says we shouldn't be eating it. There's so much. Yeah. There's so much about pork that we should not be eating. And it talks about the hooved animals versus the split toe animals that we should not be eating. Okay. Is that, hang on. Not split toe.
Cloven hooves.
Cloven hooves. The pig is the split, but also is the deer, the venison, that's clean. So maybe I'm wrong in that, but I know for sure it was the pork. Cast those demons into the swine. Remember all that? That's crazy. And there's some people out there actually talking about pigs are the swine are full of parasites always, and those parasites are casted out demons, right? I mean, we've talked to people at length about this stuff on this show, Outcast. It's crazy.
parasites are probably pretty hard to avoid. They're, everybody's going to have them to some level, but they can get to a critical mass where they can destroy your health.
Yeah.
But there's also this, for anybody who's listening for the first time, the concept that we've come up with is that the demonics will find anything that they can live in.
Yeah.
And when Jesus cast out a legion, which I forget what the number is, I think a legion is at least 4,000 soldiers or more into a herd, into a swine herd. That's a lot of. So what if some of the parasites in that pork also was considered a home for those demonics as well? They'll live in anything they possibly. I mean, if they'll try to inhabit a carved idol, if they try to, they'll inhabit anything. AI. They'll try to talk to you through a Ouija board, right? They'll do anything that they can to have some semblance of life because they have been denied that. And they're roaming the earth, bored out of their mind, wanting their old lives back. In my mind, I don't think it's a stretch that they would jump into even the smallest parasite and say, I'll chew on the inside of this pig for a while. It's better than walking the earth without a body.
Mm-hmm. When we had Nathan Reynolds on, and Music Lover put it right here, says Nathan Reynolds has spoken once or twice on why he avoids pork products at all costs. And I've noticed myself. Yeah, because of this whole, the whole demonic thing and, the relationship to the Old Testament and all that. So, there's a lot of people that know we shouldn't be eating pork, but yet we get down on that bacon on Sunday morning. Outcast is what I'm seeing. It's so hard because it's so good, so I'm trying to avoid it as much as I can. The bacon is probably the downfall for us. Yes, Shelly Pollock, but I love bacon. So do I. I know. and it loves you too. But we probably should not be eating that. That's probably some nasty food.
My weakness is a little prosciutto in some cheese and a cracker or something.
Yeah. I'm well known for cooking up some pulled pork sandwiches in the summertime around here. So it gets crazy. Amber Dawn, she says, "Hey guys, sending love. Just had a 3-hour conversation with my nephew. Well, I hope it was productive." Yes, I do.
I'm sure it was.
Have you ever been to a pig farm, Outcast?
I don't know if I've been to no, I don't think I've ever been to a pig farm.
I have. I've been to a bunch of them. I used to be on them.
Right?
Oh, it stinks and they act crazy and it's insane. It's insane. These pigs, I see them at least once a week, but I feel sorry for these pigs too, man, because they just love that slop in the nasty stuff. Oh, Deb Santos, what's going on? She says pigs don't sweat, so they can't release those toxins, right? And they eat everything. They eat human meat. They eat everything. They grind up the teeth. It's bad. A music lover. Talking about beef bacon is another recommendation I've heard reviews. Yeah, so is turkey bacon, all that stuff. It's not the real thing. All right, you're not eating the real thing, and it tastes different. But yeah, the pigs are crazy. They're nutty. I've been around them a lot. I've had to shoot a couple just for our pig roast and all that stuff before. So yeah, it's wild. Let me see. God is moving with that stuff. She says he was talking to Tony on the confessionals, and Tony butchered his own pig and controlled their diet, and Nathan said he still wouldn't eat it. Yeah, I know. Pigs are a rough animal, but I'm telling you, they're tasty and Outcast, I think we need to wean ourselves off them for sure.
I've been trying to. I avoid it.
Yeah.
And then once in a while I catch myself, I'm like prosciutto, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that's bacon. That's pork, isn't it? Like I was in denial. I was eating it,
Yeah.
I get the organic stuff from the organic market, but still it's
right.
Pork.
So I've got some notes. I'm glad you talked about the organic stuff here because I have some notes because as soon as I started hearing about this Goy Slop and talking about the kosher and halal, well, that falls right into place with organic. And I thought to myself, so I started going down this rabbit hole of, look, I remember when I was a kid, when all of us, we were all kids, right? Food used to be naturally just organic because it was food and they weren't really doing manipulation to it. Yeah, they could throw some nasty stuff on there, some sprays or whatever, chemicals or whatever, but it was still actual food. I'm talking before the GMOs and genetically modified stuff came out, right? So food, it used to be organic by default. Here are the key reasons why food today is not often organic by default anymore. 1, industrialization of agriculture. In the 20th century, farming shifted from small family farms to large-scale industrial agriculture. This is nothing new. We all know about this stuff, but I think it's kind of powerful to read it in this context again. Okay, so I'm not going to take too much time, but I'll skip over a lot of this stuff. Now, to produce the massive amounts of food efficiently, farmers began using synthetic fertilizers, chemical pesticides and herbicides, and mechanized equipment. These methods dramatically increased the yield, but moved agriculture away from purely natural practices. Right. Synthetic fertilizers. Before the 1900s, farmers relied on manure, compost, and crop rotation. Now, these points ought to remind you of the way our grandparents used to grow food, and that we can still grow food, and pretty much the way that I still grow my stuff when around here, okay? After the development of synthetic nitrogen fertilizers, especially after the Haber-Bosch process, farms could produce much larger crops quickly. See that, Outcast? Convenience for speed. Speed for convenience. There you go. This reduced the need for traditional organic soil management because they can just throw stuff on it and artificially change the ground that it was on. Chemical pest control. Chemical pesticides became widespread after World War II. There's a reason why, because they had so much abundance left over of explosive materials that somehow ended up in our food, in our dental products, Outcast. But that's another story for another time. When wartime chemicals were repurposed for farming, they allowed farmers to protect crops more reliably, prevent large losses from insects and weeds. However, these chemicals are generally not allowed in certified organic farming. Here's number 4, feeding a growing population. Now, this one kind of bugs the heck out of me. It always has. The global population, Outcast, exploded from about 2 billion in 1920 to over 8 billion today, if you believe them with their numbers. Governments and scientists push for methods that produce more food per acre, including, here we go, the hybrid seeds, chemical fertilizers, and intensive farming systems. This movement was also called the Green Revolution. Could you imagine that? They're calling it the green. What does that do to one's mind when you hear the Green Revolution? You think healthy, you think good for the planet, you think all these things, right? Just another mind psyop word, which dramatically increased the yields but relied heavily on non-organic inputs. Number 5, organic became a certification. The word organic, they stole it, Outcast. They stole it and put a label, a regulation, a label on there. Originally, all food was essentially organic. But as synthetic chemicals became common, the term organic had to be formally defined and regulated. By who? By somebody you didn't vote for. That's who. For example, the U.S. the U.S. Department of Agriculture, right, created the National Organic Program. Farmers must allow strict standards, no synthetic pesticides, limited antibiotics, specific soil practices to label food as USDA organic. Imagine that, Outcast. A government body that nobody voted for is now telling us, defining our food terms, and then telling us how those terms can be used. Isn't that funny? All right, here's the last one, number 6. Cost and efficiency pressures. Modern agriculture operates under tight margins. Non-organic methods often reduce labor, increase yields, and lower short-term costs. Because of this, conventional farming became the dominant system. In short, food didn't stop being organic because nature changed it. It changed because modern farming technologies and economic pressures favored higher productivity over traditional methods. So your health, yeah, you guys, all of us, we are the Goy, and the Goy Slop is our diet. With the help of our government right there. Look, there's generations of our family members, us, our friends, our family, again, fell for it. We all trusted. Think about the seedless grapes, the seedless watermelons, the seedless fruits. Guess what is the most important part of any fruit? It's the seed. Any vegetable, the seed. What does Monsanto do? Well, now they're bare, but they controlled the seed. The farmers couldn't get the seed that's going to create seeds later so they can reproduce again in the next season. No, they had to get the stuff that the Terminator seeds. Remember those? They're still around. Terminator seeds mean you use them one time, then you got to go back to the manufacturer to get more seeds. Biblically, Outcast, biblically, how does that line up? What are they doing to the seed? Terminator seeds.
Jeez. Yeah, and I mean, if we go back now, granted, there was the falling away, in the Garden of Eden because of our sin, but God gave us everything that we would need to live off of, and you can tell that the agents of Hasatan, or whatever you want to call him, the devil, they want nothing more than to cut us off from God's creation, cut us off from God's provision, cut us off from God's word. They corrupt and defile everything that made this a place where you could be in communion with the Lord and sense his blessings on you. But now everybody, young people, everywhere I go, I'm hearing the most outrageous, you guys wouldn't believe the stories I'm hearing about mental illness in my offices, and, crazy stories, murder, everything. People are losing their ever loving minds.
Yeah. You told me about some of that stuff. It's wild.
But where does this come from? I mean, our brains can't even function. I got to say this too. I mean, that's why it's important to make time to bless your food before you eat it.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to eat clean. You can't avoid it, but you can also pray and ask God to remove it. Anything that's in it,
That's my grandpa. That's what he always did. And most of that side of the family, that's what they always did. They would sit down and pray over the food. And most of the time, my grandpa, he would just be like, he'd look down and give it the cross, give it the cross over the food, and say his little, 2-second, 3-second prayer, whatever it was. I find myself saying this same kind of stuff. Please let this be nutritional and filling and healthy and therapeutic to my body instead of a sickness to my body. Even if it's got those chemicals on it, please turn those to water once it gets inside me. Things like that.
For anybody listening, here's my way of doing it. You can do your own version of this. Thank you, Lord, for this food. Thank you for the hands, thank you for this food. Please remove any impurities that may be in this food intentionally or unintentionally. May this food nourish my body and strengthen my muscles and my bones and strengthen my mind and strengthen my connection to you. Bless the hands that made this food.
Yes. Awesome.
Right?
Yeah, that's it. Same thing with what you're drinking. Same thing as the medicines you're putting in your mouth. Same thing is it can be applied to anything that you're going to put on your body topically. We are so far down the road of deception and so far away from the original intent, Outcasts. Earlier up there, I said that the word that bothers me is feeding a growing population. There's a problem here. And I had this issue with a friend a long time ago when the GMOs started really coming out. This was probably 2012, 2013. And I was really on this whole Monsanto, I was into that stuff and digging deep. And, the GMOs were really starting to hit our shelves and really starting to grow and be into everything. And I brought that up to her. And her response was, "Oh no, we got to feed the world and be healthy or be have enough food for the world." And at that point, I really didn't have a whole lot to say, but to back up my point of view as to it's not right. But I've learned that whole psyop that we thought that it's up to us to feed the world. No. What we did, we went around. Now, I don't know who the we is. I can guess. Went around the world, starving countries, restricting flow of goods and vital help and things that they needed. It wasn't until our interference. When I say our, I still don't know exactly who our is, but I've got to guess. And then we came up with the term well, now we have to feed the world. We have to take care of the sick and all this. No, they were able to do that way before we came along and said we need to do this. These people knew how to grow things. Okay? These people knew how to raise animals. It wasn't until we sent our agents, again, I don't know who the we and the are, but that whole thing of us needing to grow and feed the population of the world, no, that's something they needed us to buy into. Go ahead.
I feel like I'm getting a download from God.
All right. I want to hear this.
They tell us, the media, news, okay, they tell us, you people got to stop being racist. You stop being sexist, stop being homophobic, stop being your bad self. Okay.
Yep.
But now we have a glimpse into these Epstein files, we see that the real racists are the ones who think that they're genetically superior to the rest of us, and the rest of us are subhuman to be exploited. Then they say, we have to feed the world. Oh, really? Because the last time I checked, the elites of the world have enough money they could solve every societal woe, every problem, and they could free humanity to extent that we could flourish in love and abundance and joy. But they don't. They hold on to their money and they put the guilt on you. Yes. It's your fault. You need to donate more. You need to donate to that charity. You need Live Aid. Oh, and we're going to do Band-Aid, and then we're going to do USA for Africa, and then we're going to do the farmers one. Why do I? You're the ones that have all the money, and you control the world, right?
They made us believe it. They made us believe it, Outcast, and it worked.
Well, and it's funny because I was just watching a highlight from the confessionals, and there's a woman who was an SRA survivor, satanic ritual abuse survivor, and she said one of the ways that they would control her and abuse her was they would say, you have to invite these demons into yourself, and if you don't, we're going to kill this other kid.
Yeah.
So they knew that she had a level of humanity in her heart, and she didn't want anything to happen to that kid. So then she willingly invited demonic oppression and possession into herself. So they used her humanity to get her to do their bidding. Follow me? And that's what they do with all this garbage. They put it on us. It's your fault. You're naughty. You're racist. You're evil. You're hateful. And it's them. They're projecting on us. And it's funny because that's where the devil works too. The devil puts anxiety and fear and depression on you because he's filled with anxiety, fear, and depression because he knows his judgment is coming. So he uses his human proxies who sit on the thrones that he's created to put this on us. I'm sick and tired of it. I mean, this is not who we are as humans. We are not hateful people. We're filled with love. And they've turned us on each other constantly. And let me just, now I'm on a rant. Let me just say this too. If listen, I'm open to rebuke if somebody says this is that I'm all wet or I'm all wrong. But this Israel war thing has really got my underwear in a twist, and I'll tell you why. I can't. We see something happening right now. If Tel Aviv is being leveled, like I believe it is, from the stuff that's being leaked out. Isn't it ironic that that's exactly what they're doing to the Palestinians?
Yeah.
Right. But we have to take some onus on this. I had this conversation with Brother Tom today via text, and I'm going to say this it's a major caution. My Fox News conservative friends that I have are all like, yeah, this war, we got to get those Iranian. There's never been an Iranian who's affected my life positively or negatively in my life. Right. But we got to get those guys. They're a week away from a nuke and stuff like that. Okay, this bloodlust will not go unpunished. And I think that if Netanyahu's dead or whatever's happened to him, whatever's going on in Israel, I think it's a. I don't know for sure. I don't want to speak for God. I'm thinking of the book of Job here. I don't want to say, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was some level of God's correction or God's judgment for the brutality that they've inflicted on their neighbors. Okay. But if it's one thing that our tax dollars are being used without our consent, we go, I don't approve of that because that I didn't vote for my money to go over there. That's true. But there are a lot of people who are going, yeah. They're joking, taking life lightly and joking about it. Mm-hmm. There's going to be judgment for this. If we end up with a nuke on our soil or something catastrophic happens here, I'm telling you, It's a level of God's judgment because people are willingly over here applauding this nonsense. This it's bloodlust. I'm telling you.
Again, Outcast, they don't know. They have they're not looking at it from a different perspective like we are. Okay.
I know.
They're just following because it's not CNN and it's not MSNBC, it's Fox. So there's the left, there's the right, and there's the middle. There's the right and the wrong. There's their story and our story, and there's the truth. Okay. They're stuck in that section of it. They're totally stuck in it. Yeah.
I just wish I could remind every single one of my friends who are cheering this stuff on and just say, Jesus called us to pray for our enemies. He didn't say bomb the living daylights out of them.
Yep.
He didn't say that.
And he
pray for your enemies.
Yeah. Again, I think I brought it up on a couple shows ago. Iran has never invaded anybody in our lifetimes that we know of in any type of history relative to our grandparents. Iran's never done anything. Right? Who have we invaded? Oh, there's a lot of countries that we've invaded.
And in their eyes, we're a terrorist state.
Well,
man, I sound like a liberal. I'm not trying to.
No. Here's the thing.
I'm just trying to sound like I'm just trying to align my heart with Christ.
Yeah, no, right? I understand I understand that. Now when you say you sound like a liberal, I can tell you that when I say us, I'm not saying you, me, the regular everyday people. I'm saying people that go do this stuff. 3-letter agencies. They're the ones that went and did all this stuff over all these years. Okay. And they're using us, the American might, the American military. Okay. It was them doing it under black budgets and going over there and what's it called? Getting rid of their presidents and holding new elections. And that's us. That's
regime change.
Regime change. Thank you. All right. That's who it is. Okay. So it's not us. There's some part of an unelected bureaucracy out there that's been doing this for decades and generations. And they're still doing it. And whatever they do over there, they mind manipulate us over here.
Yes.
It's insane.
I am tired of being played by these people. They are so filled with hate and malice and greed and lust and the consuming of human life for their own benefit. And they're constantly putting the burden on us. And then we stupidly, or not we, not you and you, but our neighbors, our friends willingly fall into the mental enslavement trap and say, yeah, let's go get them. Let's turn them to glass. Those, now that, like Amber Dawn was saying a minute ago, now that we can see that we're being puppeted by Israel through blackmail, if what we believe is true, right?
Yep.
Through blackmail, we've got got blood on our hands now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not you and I personally,
not me,
but
not me,
but
no,
but that's what our listeners and people like us who have a voice. Evan was just saying he's arguing with his coworkers about this stuff every day.
Yeah.
Right. Good for you. Don't stop because people need to wake up. I mean, seriously,
right. They need to snap out of it for sure. These people need to snap out of what all this is. We've been fed so much stuff generationally that, we're born into these things that are not true, that things that have been made up, lies. We've been born into a world of deception that sometimes it'll take us a lifetime to figure out. Sometimes it will never, ever, ever figure it out because we've grown up inside of this fishbowl. That's what it is, you guys. We've grown up in this. And until people get snapped out of it, hey, start watching Truman Show. Go watch it. All right. You'll see yourself in that movie. You'll see yourself inside of Jim Carrey when you see that stuff. Dude, so it's
every
wild.
Day. There's Truman Show stuff going on every day. And when we get to it later, that ICP thing ties right into it.
We got to get into that stuff right now. Our time is going so fast, Outcast. So why don't we talk about, let's save that stuff to the end because that's always fun to close on that kind of stuff. Let's talk about this six-fingered guy named BB. So, all right. So you guys, listen, I'm going to go over here and show you guys the intro that the artwork that I made. Okay. Right here. This is the artwork that I made for the show. And I asked you yesterday, I said, hey, how about Weekend at BB's? Because that was going around. It was kind of funny. And then you also sent this missing on a milk carton, last seen with 6 fingers. And there's a picture of Benjamin Netanyahu, right? And I put it smack dab right in between us. Outcast. So Weekend at BB's. There's memes going around all about it. You know, they took the movie cover of Weekend at Bernie's and threw him on there with some sunglasses. Is he dead? Is he alive? Honestly, we do not know. Are we going to know? Maybe, maybe not. But as of right now, they keep throwing these AI videos at us. And another one came out today. So I think they're up to 4, maybe 5 different ones because they keep trying to prove, oh no, you guys are silly. He's alive. Here he is right now. He's sitting down giving a speech. Well, the problem is with that, on his right hand, he's got 6 fingers, like Obama in that painting, in that portrait. Where the bushes are behind him, he's sitting on a chair, 6 fingers. And that was done intentionally. All right. They gave us another video of him. The coffee should have spilled all down that cup. It didn't fall. It didn't spill. All right. There's so much about what's going on. Are they doing it intentionally? Are they messing with us again? What is going on here, Outcast? What's your thoughts?
Well, I don't know, but man, I tell you what, both those videos of him speaking are from, I believe, 2024.
Yes. Yep. Because the security's all masked up and people are saying, wait a minute, we saw this before, right?
Yep. And there's also some anomalies that look like it's completely AI to begin with. Like the coffee shop one, like you said, the coffee's tilting and it looks like it wants to drip over, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah.
Yeah. He puts his hand in his pocket and the pocket glitches and moves around as he's putting his hand in.
Yeah.
There's a date from 2024 on the register, I believe. Yeah. So what are they doing? I don't know. I mean, the theory is that he's either gone or he's comatose and they don't want anybody to know because they don't want to give Iran a moral victory. Hey, listen, how many of our listeners think that the lunar landing was a hoax? Most of us. Okay. Well, why would they lie to us about that? Well, because it was a moral victory over communism, and they needed to beat Russia to the moon to have this moral victory. The same reason that Hitler probably went to Venezuela, or I should say, Argentina. That the reason they had to lie to us and say that he was dead was because they wanted to cut the head off the snake figuratively, so Nazism wouldn't rise again. So these are situations where they lie to us for the greater good. Okay.
Because it's good for us.
It's good for us. Okay.
Yep.
Well, what we're looking at here is it good for us to think that he's still alive? Is it bad for our enemies to think he's still alive? So that's what the game that they could be playing here. I can't think of a better way to test the algorithm to see how people are going to respond to regime change in Israel. If they see that the world is rejoicing, then they know that this guy is leading the world's opinion negatively towards the Israeli government because everything he's done. Somebody was tracking his plane online, and they showed that they circled his plane just off the coast of, ironically, Gaza for 4 hours. They circled. Yeah. Then they tried to land in Italy. They tried to land in multiple different countries, and they were turned away everywhere they went. Nobody would let them land. And then they ultimately landed his plane. The last place anybody knows that he was at is Germany. It was ironically. Right, the last place that would let him land.
Well, that makes sense to me. We're those fake Germans. Remember the fake Germans?
Ashkenazi.
There you go. Same region. That is the same region, brother. Keep going.
Rumor had, yeah. So then there's also pictures of him that looks like he's being pulled out of the rubble. He looks unconscious.
Yep.
AI says that's 78% real. Likewise, and then to counter that, the videos of him at the coffee shop and the videos of him with the 6 fingers, AI is saying it's 80% sure it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
It is the Truman Show. We're truly watching theatrics every single day. I find it fascinating to think that they're lying to us about this. Like, when are they going to let the cat out of the bag, or are they ever? Also, too, somebody did on the video at the coffee shop, they did a nose comparison. It doesn't even look like it's the same face. It's like
no,
Jeffrey
it's different
Epstein stuff.
Yep. Yeah,
there's so many. This has got Erica Kirk nonsense written all over it.
Yes, it does. Right? It's crazy. Yep.
It's
so I've got a lot of people asking me about it. You know, like, what's your thoughts on it? Now, here's some good ones. I'm going to put them up on the screen. This one was from earlier from Ionic Mike, and he says, Hey, James Jesus. Hey, he says, I want to know the implications of the Middle East if, in fact, Bibi is dead. So, again, we can speculate that. Now, there's a lot of people in the area, in the region, that would love to see that because they're sick of getting stomped on by the big boot of the American military coming over because of we're being told to go over there by who? This guy. All right.
You know what? You just remind me of something else, dude. He's been bombing the crap out of Lebanon. And Lebanon is notoriously a peaceful country where Jews, Christians, and Muslims for millennia have lived side by side in absolute harmony. They don't fight each other. Lebanon is supposedly the example of the world getting along. So I've heard.
Yeah, it's a hub.
And and Netanyahu has been bombing the crap out of it, bombing Christian churches in Lebanon. So your friends, your Fox News friends are going, yes, support Israel because here's the problem. You think he's going to stop with Iran? He's not stopping there. He's going to kill Christians and destroy churches in the Middle East too. And here's the other part too. If they're on their way there's a theory that they're going to do a false flag. They're going to destroy the Muslim temple. That's where they want to put the Jewish temple to usher in the Antichrist, as we would refer to it.
Yep.
Their Messiah, our Antichrist. That temple, there's a Jewish, or I'm sorry, a Muslim temple on it now. They're going to blame that on Iran, like a missile missed and hit it, so they can start building their mosque on it, which is going to be like, you think that they kicked a hornet's nest now in Iran? This is holy war, like we've probably never going to see again. I mean, this is unprecedented times. We're on the precipice of chaos. And in my humble opinion, Benjamin Netanyahu has been at the spearhead of all this nonsense, because from what I hear, entertainment purposes only, he is a war criminal. He's also been embezzling money, and he is trying to avoid going to court. He's trying to stay in war at all time. If that chess piece is removed off the board, Israel can maybe start with a clean slate, but I don't think they're going to change a lot of their ways. I don't know what they're going to do. It does change all the dynamics. I like Mike. I wish I had clear answers for you. I'm just thinking a lot of babbling, but there's lots of implications here. Is what I'm trying to say.
We can all speculate on all that stuff, and like you said earlier, I mean, we talked in the past where war would pop off or some sort of a skirmish, because he was in the hot seat, and he still is the hot seat with all his people. Most of those people over there, the citizens there of Israel, they don't want him around. They've been almost, he's been going to court and all that stuff. Even Trump talked about him. He's got big troubles in the court and all that stuff. Music Lover says, yeah, he nearly got voted out. Then he declared war. Then he declared war and couldn't have an election. Right. See how convenient that is? That's the same thing that little fella over there in
Korea? Or what are you thinking of?
No. The little cocaine head, Sean Penn's friend. Ukraine. In Ukraine, same thing with him. Okay, same thing. Got to go to war so there's no elections. See how that works? It works out really well. So he's just like all the other politicians, right? So we've got something coming down the line now. I like how Mike, he says the amount of deep fakes and BS videos are overwhelming. Yeah, distraction and redirection, right? Because see, the people who aren't thinking about these things being AI, they look at it and say, wow, that is so true. And they run off and they tell their boomer friends, hey, nope, he's still alive. I saw him. I saw him on TV. Look, before long, we're all going to be fooled by these AI videos. It's going to be scary, Outcast. Go ahead.
Just had another download. Okay, so the conspiracy theory called Project Looking Glass or Operation Looking Glass, I forget what it's called. I think it's Project Looking Glass.
Yes.
We've talked about on the show before where there was supposedly back in the 90s, they had a quantum computer system that could relatively accurately predict future outcomes based on events that you fed into the system.
Yeah.
And the guy that the whistleblower said, and I thought he seemed credible to me, and he's got a strong background in the military. I don't have any reason to doubt this guy. He said that black hats, which I think could mean those who are maybe Zios or those who are, that ilk that want to control the world through blackmail and other things, they were overly interested in this program. And they put in scenario after scenario after scenario after scenario, trying to find a way to herd humanity into their ultimate goals. But they couldn't find it. So they were realizing that based on their reaction, he was deducing that they figured out that humanity was going to wake up and break away from their control. And they couldn't figure out a psyop to change that course. Okay. Well, what do you think that all these deep fakes are doing? Each deep fake gives them a hot read on algorithms, what we're buying into, what we're not buying into, right? So maybe this barrage of deep fakes is them doing a Project Looking Glass live on us, right?
In real time.
Like that?
Yep, in real time, exactly, because it does fit in. They have all the machines to feed the algorithm with all the data that they're, just like you said, all that data, they can put these things out there. It's called A/B testing. All right, I do that with titles on my other YouTube channel. You want the strongest, most impactful title or AI video or something just to get a read on what the public is thinking. Okay, with all this Internet of Things that's happening now, they can do that on a worldwide scale in a matter of seconds. Now, here's a good one from 313 Boot Boy. He says, if Bibi was confirmed dead, would that increase the possibility of Israel unleashing the Samson option? The answer...
Music Lover asks, wait, before you answer,
okay.
Music Lover asks.
She says, wait, I'm not familiar with the Samson option. Is it relevant related to what Samson did during his life at the end or at the end of it?
Yes.
All right. We are on. Yes. That's the path we're on. Music Lover. Okay. Outcast.
So yes.
The Samson option.
Israel has the Samson option, which would be if they think that Israel's going to collapse or fail in any way, shape, or form or be overwhelmed, they would blow us all up. Everybody gone rather than go down.
Yep.
Now back to Evan's very savvy question. I don't know diddly squat. I'm just a schmuck on talking on a microphone. Thanks for showing up to hear me rant and rave. But here's the thing. I would think that Bibi's character reflects Samson option mentality more so than everybody else. Do you think that everybody in Israel is going to say, other than Bibi, who has been recklessly destructive and murderous, I think that's within his character to end it all.
For decades.
Hey, for all we know, maybe Mossad took Bibi out. We don't need, right? Who knows?
We don't know.
We don't know.
It's a gigantic chess game.
But I would think that most people, with their love of their family, their own, even if they think the rest of the world are full of goy, even just the love of their own family, they would try to figure out a way to evacuate and leave and start a new life somewhere else rather than blow up the whole world.
Yep.
I mean, maybe I'm putting too much humanity on them, but I would like to think that the one, from what I can tell, my personal humble opinion, the one psychopath that would pull the Samson option would be Bibi. With him out of the picture, I like to think maybe that reduces a bit. What do you guys think?
Yeah, no, I think the same thing. And you can't talk about the Samson option also without talking about the Greater Israel Project and those patches that those military men have on their sleeves. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you look at those patches again, it shows a fully completed Greater Israel Project of those countries. Same outline. Okay. It's not completed right now as is. If you look at the geographical lines, the borders, but it is, once it's all completed, ironically, they're going after all the countries to fill that spot like a puzzle. They just need those pieces and they'll fill that spot right on up. Okay. If they can't achieve that, Samson option. Samson option's always been there. If they can't get what they want, they're going to end up with this right here. So how do you stop the Samson option? You got to take out the head of the snake. You take out the head of the snake, and then you see if somebody else tries to jump in that position and try to do the same thing. So I kind of like what you're saying, Outcast. I don't know, though, if we can trust the Mossad.
I don't know. I don't either.
I feel the same way about the CIA. They're the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Ironically, who do you think trains most of the police officers here in our country? Where do they get those training from? Mossad agents.
Yep.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is.
Let's see here. We have Music Lover says he better not level it. I want to go do all the touristy things and see all the biblical sites. Yeah, we hear you. He says, Boo Boy says, yeah, the Greater Israel patches alongside with the Third Temple patches. These people are full on satanic. That's exactly what it is. But a regular snake, or is it Medusa? Now Medusa is that 7-headed snake or a head full of snakes? Yeah. Listen, we're getting into a lot of crazy stuff, but it all goes back to what Ionic Mike was talking about early in the show. And, you got to throw everything into this thing. What we don't know what it's going to be like if they come out and say, okay, he's gone. He's off the board. It hits the headlines. How's all the media going to react? How's all the normies going to react? How's that going to change the worldwide chessboard? Is Trump going to be, or whoever the American president is at the time, going to immediately assume presidency over that area? Are they saving Israel for last? What's going on? There's so many questions that we're not going to have a definitive answer to right now. We got to watch it play out.
I'm once again, I'm not an expert in eschatology, but I believe the Antichrist ushers in a period of artificial peace and safety.
Right.
So if it gets whipped up into total chaos over there, that would set the stage for a Antichrist figure to talk about peace and safety.
Right. Yep.
Right. A false
flag. Yeah. A big time, a false flag of worldwide implications, and something that most people probably wouldn't even see or see coming. It's wild, brother. It is wild. So again, we just got to keep our eyes and our ears open, stay in the book, because a lot of these things are going to be coming out, and we'll probably see some of this stuff. Are you reading that? The Likud party in the extreme Zionists are a pretty huge group in Israel. They even have their own soccer hooligans. Yeah. Wow. Yep. Never forget what happened in New York City under those tunnels and what they found and went scurrying like rats. Was it last summer, the summer before?
Oh yeah.
Wild stuff. There's all kinds of stuff underground there in New York City, Outcast.
I'm trying to think of the name of that temple in New York. I'll bet you Evan knows. The name of that temple.
Listen, we need to start getting into this another section of high strangeness. All right.
All right.
So listen, you guys, how this happened, the high strangeness stuff. Last week, we got into it. I don't know why, but it's fun and I like it. And that's how we're going to end the show tonight. So we need to go into, and I don't even know how me and you got into this. I think you were talking to Slasher Dave, right?
Yes. That's how it all started.
So Slasher Dave, you guys, is a friend of Outcast. He's been on the show. Shabbat Lubavitch.
That's it. Thank you.
That's it right there. Yep. Thanks, Evan. Yeah. So Slasher Dave, he's the guy. You hear this music? I said, Dave, I need some music. And this is one of the songs he gave me. It's on one of his records, one of his albums. All right. I play this for the outro. I play this in Mystery Pie podcast, our other podcast. I've got a bunch of other songs of his that I haven't played yet. Maybe you heard one or two of them, but I haven't played them all. But Slasher Dave, you done artwork for his record, his record album covers and all that stuff. Really good stuff. I'll start talking about it and I'll see what I can find.
Okay. So just a little background to how we know Dave. Dave used to be a guitarist for a punk band called the Rat Finks. My old band used to play with them when he was like 16 years old. I lost track of him for a little bit. He dropped out of the punk scene. And then I run into him randomly and he's doing this spooky music theme stuff. It's called Slasher Dave. And he's got another spooky Halloween themed metal band called Acid Witch. Anyways, but he's an old friend. He's a thinker. He's got an open mind. He knows what we do on this show. He never dug his heels in and said, well, I can't participate because you guys are Christians. He's not like that. He's just a cool friend of mine. And every time we get together, we have great conversations. Well, I kind of forgot I did this, but he is getting deep involved in the city of Hazel Park. I live on the border of Hazel Park, and a block or two away from my house is a big park called Green Acres Park. At the far side of the park is a mound. It's a big hill. And I've been wondering for a while, is this a man-made hill that they put here as a sledding hill for kids, or is it was the mound here? Because not too far from us in Detroit is Mound Road, and it's named Mound Road for a giant mound that was here, before, when the first people came here the first American settlers came, they saw this mound. So I believe that there's mounds sprinkled all over Michigan, and I've been wondering about this one a block from my house. So I said to Dave a while ago, I said, hey man, since you're involved with the city of Ferndale now, city of Hazel Park, because he's it's a long story, but he's puts on a big Halloween event. He does different things, and the city's embraced him. I said, see if you can get to the bottom of the origins of that mound. I forgot I told him to do this. Well, he contacted me and he said, hey, I looked into it and I think that mound was here. He goes, I found a photograph of it in the 1940s before the neighborhood was even there, and the mound is there. So
we got to go.
He goes, I believe, yeah. So then he says, but here's where it gets weird. He goes, I'm reading Violent J, who is from the ICP, Insane Clown Posse, who are from my neighborhood. They lived literally 2 blocks, if that, a block and a half from my house, at their grandma's house. And when I moved into this neighborhood years ago, 30 some years ago, there was an ICP graffiti on a brick wall down the street here. So I know this was their stomping grounds. In his book, Violent J, I think these guys are also born again now. Violent J is. He tells, Dave said that in the book it says he had this bouts of insomnia, and he would go to just blow off steam. He would go and run up and down that hill, that mound that's a block away from our house.
Yeah.
And he said one night he was there at 3:30 in the morning, which Jesse would always tell you 3 a.m. is the witching hour. And he was on top of that hill, and he got a really bad feeling. A cold wind blew, and he got the heebie-jeebies. His dog acted scared. So he started booking down that hill, I believe is what Dave said. And right nearby is a big, thick wood of oak trees, which is part of the park, Green Acres Park. And in the book, it says, it doesn't specifically say which hill he was on, but I think that's it, because it's just a block from his grandma's house. And he said there's a forest nearby. I think that wooded area would be, to a city kid, that'd be considered a forest. He said as he's running down the hill, he looked back, and in one of the streetlights, he saw somewhere between a 9 and a 12-foot tall shadow figure that had the silhouette of a Native American.
Yeah, boy. Bruh. Now you're talking the stuff that we talk about, Outcast. So what did you, okay. First of all, I understand all this. Okay. We need, first of all, me and you need to drive down there and see if there's any type of remains of that area before. We all know about what's buried in these Nephilim burial mounds. Okay. The bones, the Indians jumped in there afterwards. Okay. There's all kinds of high strangeness with this story. I don't know. My guess is Violent J doesn't know about Nephilim giants and all these things. Possibly, you know what would be really good is if we can get him to listen to our interview with Paul Stops. Nephilim are clowns. Insane Clown Posse. Okay, there's a whole thing there. Now I'm wondering if Slasher Dave was able to talk to Jay and say, hey, look, does Dave even get into this stuff?
So Dave knows about it because I've told him, and Dave is open-minded and interested in all things like this.
Yeah.
So Dave was like, he said that one night he was at that mound, and he said that he heard audibly in his ear syllables, T and S, coming from that mound.
Yep.
So I said to
Hang on.
Dave, I said, well, here's my take on it.
You broke up.
I said, those mounds were built by the, okay. Oh.
You're back.
Okay. Am I back?
Yep.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay. So I said, Dave, via texting, I said, here's my take on it. Not only are at the base of those mounds, is it likely that there is the remains of a Nephilim giant? First thing. Those are the original mound builders. It is probably seated on top of a ley line. And I explained to him that ley lines are a power grid on the planet, and it's a source of energy, and that's why the Nephilim chose to put monuments all over ley lines, all over the planet. Stonehenge, the pyramids, everything sits on ley lines. It's a power grid. I said, so you've got the Nephilim origins. You've got ley line energy. Then certain Native American tribes, co-opted those mounds later in history because they recognized the power that they represent. At certain times of the night, probably 3 a.m. or different times, you can tap into energy there. Okay,
yeah,
and
I know this stuff.
So I said, and this is my take it or leave it. I think that some tribes, they're not all the same. It's not like cookie cutter, like all Indian tribes are exactly the same, because they're not. They're vastly different in their beliefs. I think that some tribes worshipped a great spirit akin to Yahweh of the Torah. Okay.
Right.
Other tribes tapped into the energies, earth and or fallen spirits, a pantheon of gods.
Right.
Those tribes, I would venture to guess, are more warlike and aggressive, and the great spirit tribes you're going to find are a little bit more peaceable and in harmony with the land. That's just my opinion. But what he saw was a giant shadow figure of an Indian. So that's next level. That's next level. But I said, what's interesting too is Dave also pointed out that in very close proximity to this mound is the radio station WOMZ radio. It's been around forever.
Yeah,
OMC. Yeah, sorry. You and I have listened to, it's been around our whole life. It's an oldies station, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But what if the powers that be that control information and the airwaves, who is the prince of the air, the devil, it's by no mistake that radio station is that close proximity to that ley line and that mound.
It's got a Tower of Babel sitting on it.
Well, if you're going to broadcast music, and you're going to be able to channel whatever spirit,
broadcast, spell,
channel that into the community as well. Not only just great oldies music, but you're going to have, right?
Dang.
I don't know, man.
I know. Makes me want to jump in the truck and go down there.
So Dave says, I want to go dig around that thing. And I was like, don't do it. And the reason I say that so adamantly is I've randomly stumbled across a YouTube video probably 4 years ago now. It was a long time ago. And it was this guy telling a story about and he seemed like a normal, credible dude. He didn't have anything to gain by telling the story. He said his friend decided to excavate a mound at the back of his grandfather's property on a farm that had been left alone. And he started finding axe heads and arrowheads, and he created a whole shelf of artifacts. And then at the top of the mound was an indentation. They started excavating there, and he got skulls out of it and bones. And he took those skull and bones, took them home, put them on the shelf. And within a year, the kid was dead. He got a blood disease. He got all kinds of autoimmune disorders. I mean, his body fell apart, and the guy was like maybe 31 years old, and he was dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
After messing with this stuff. So you've got the Nephilim, bad juju at the bottom. You've got later darker tribes that were tapping into that same energy, appropriating those mounds for energy and favor. You've got that, and they put curses on those bones. I was like, trust me, don't do it. Don't even think about messing around that mound.
Yeah.
Which he was receptive. He heard my plea. But then he's also friends with Isham. And Isham's born again, and I think that the ICP guys are born again.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure about that. About Isham, yeah, I think so, but I'm not sure about the ICP guys yet. We'd have to get some more information on that, but I'd like to know. You know what I'm saying? So keep going. I want you to. Yep.
Oh, am I missing anything? I forget. So then I contact you and I said, check out this conversation I'm having with Dave.
Yeah.
And what did you say?
Hold on 1 second.
You said, that's weird because I've been listening to ICP randomly.
Well, here's what I did. Not their music. I've known, we go way back with these guys, Outcast, back to the early 90s. Okay. Back to like 91, 92, somewhere there. Yeah. And so what I've done, somehow they have these reels on like Instagram and Facebook, right? On their pages, right? And they just popped up. I didn't go look for them or anything. Just a couple weeks ago, they just popped up. I was like, oh, there's Jay right there. So I clicked and listened to his reel. And it's just intriguing to watch. I've not, the Juggalos are big and deep, right? They're all over the place. They're huge. These juggalos, I think they're bigger than the actual guys, than the group. But they have a major following. So anyway, it's intriguing to watch and see all the shenanigans that these guys get into, right? Just to watch from afar. It's a completely different experience. So,
but the irony,
if I'm off track, the irony is we ended up getting into this at the exact same time. Didn't even know about it.
Dude, it's just like I said, I was just thinking about the Pokemon thing.
Right.
And you bring this up.
That happened today. Yeah, that happened today.
Listen, it's every single day. And Dave and I were talking about that before we got into the mound conversation. We're talking about how everything's Truman Show or Matrix-y, where there's this reoccurring theme. And then my wife and I were talking about it. And then we saw a pattern. We were watching a movie and something came up. We're like, there we go again. We were just talking about this. It's like, it's the weirdest thing, dude.
I know. I know. It is a weird thing. It's how the timing. Okay. Now we're not trying to do any of this stuff. It just happens. Like I brought that up, not even knowing that that's what you were talking about. Okay. I had no idea that you were even messing with some ICP stuff, that Dave even knew them guys. And the whole thing came up. I got into Esham stuff too. I remember him way back in the day. These guys are Detroit rappers, you guys. I don't know if you guys know them or heard of them.
Slasher Dave is tight with Esham too. They're pals. They're close.
Yeah, so I'd like to work on trying to get Esham in here. That's something big. Listen, it's almost like a how do I explain it? Because he Esham in those days. Now, he acid rap is what he called himself. Very satanic, devilish stuff. You listen to him today, he did find Jesus. He says it. He acts different now. He talks different. But there's some stuff here that people might really get freaked out if we played. You know, it worked fine on our other show. I don't know. It'd probably work fine here too. It's something that I think should probably try to work on.
Now, here's a funny Truman Show Matrix-y thing for you, too.
Yeah.
So on Friday, I had a lot of driving to do. I was on the road for 5 hours. And everywhere I went, I was being tailgated by a black pickup truck to the point where I thought, is it the same truck?
Yeah.
I don't think it was. It was repeat black truck after black truck. I'd be in a different part of a town, and next thing you know, I'm being tailgated by a black truck. And I was like, what is up with the black trucks tailgating me today? I come home, I tell my wife, and the next morning we get up to go to a memorial service for one of our neighbors that passed away, and we go to park in the parking lot, and the only parking spot was between two black trucks.
Oh, you have a black shadow coming around you, outcast.
Something.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah.
But that just gives you an idea. I mean, it can be any weird topic. It will be a theme. And then I'll talk to you about it. You know, then somebody else brings it up at black truck. And I'm like, are you kidding me? We just talked about this.
I know. It's just not. When you started saying that, it's like, dude, it's so crazy because still on my phone, I got the reel of them guys. It's like, well, I haven't thought about these guys in 30 years. And all of a sudden, the same.
I'm texting you about it. Yeah.
Yeah, the same week. Listen, let's go. This is the final story I want to talk about. And I found this, I don't know, a while ago. And I'll just call it, This Thing Is Not Human. Some of you might have heard this in the past. I don't know. It's kind of older, but check this out, Outcast. I'm going to preface this by this guy driving down the road and something jumps into his truck. And all he says is, that thing is not human. There's a sheriff involved. There's tape involved. It's wild. Here we go.
It is very hard to listen to that call, to that 911 tape, without becoming somewhat unnerved. It actually bothered me the first time that I heard it.
You guys, this is, for the audio listeners, this was July 31st, 2021 down in Pender County, North Carolina.
Pender County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River, and I thought I saw a guy standing on the side of the road bleeding.
Okay, Where are you at, sir?
I'm on 210. I just crossed the Black River. I'm heading towards 53 East. I just passed Patriots Watch.
Okay, so you're over near Morse Creek?
Yes.
Okay. And did you saw a man standing on the side of the road? What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the bed of my truck!
Okay, what's in the road?
No, it's not in the road, it's in my truck. In the bed.
There's something in the bed of your truck?
Yes, ma'am, I just turned on my bed lights for my truck and there's something in my bed.
Okay, sir, when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my roof.
Okay, what was it?
According to the CAD notes and the deputy reports, this thing jumped into the back of his pickup truck and began to actually beat on the top of the cab of his truck. You could actually hear something beating on the top of the truck. The caller stated that it was beating and scratching on the top of the cab of his truck. He actually stated that he was able to engage his bed light and was able to somewhat identify this object that was in the back of his truck. At some point, he was able to slam on his brakes, and the force of inertia actually threw this thing out over his hood and onto the highway, where this thing stood up in the roadway, made its way to the wood line, and disappeared in the woods.
There's some high strangeness for you, Outcast.
You know, something else you just made me think of too. There was 8 Bigfoot sightings in northeast Ohio the past 2 weeks?
Well, here in Michigan, there was some. Right here. Remember, I was sending you guys those videos.
Oh, Bigfoot sighting in Michigan lately.
Yeah,
I didn't hear about that one.
Yeah, just in the counties just north of us. Yeah, Monroe County has a bunch. Yeah, there's a lot of people say that there's some sort of a pathway that they travel east and west from like Monroe County over to Kalamazoo area, and also to the north. But yeah, it's crazy.
But Ohio had 8 credible sightings in 2 weeks.
Yeah, this is all recent. This is all within the last couple of weeks. Yeah, if you look back in our text messages, you'll see I was putting them in there. They had sketches of the Bigfoot. It's crazy. We got to get Wes Germer on here, man. I got to send him an email and get him on the show.
Right.
That would be awesome. So, let me see here. Yeah, I think that was it, Outcast. Yeah, the sheriff still calling that cryptid an object. Yeah, I know. See, these things, you guys, are called cryptids. Tales from the Crypt. Remember all this wild, crazy... Outcast, there's one behind you right now. On the wall.
Lurking.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of topographical stuff. If you guys think that, everything that we talked about tonight is crazy, wait till you get into some of this Bigfoot stuff and how crazy and wild that stuff is in, Michigan Dogman. If you want something really, you got to get into the Michigan Dogman. That's crazy right there. But I got Evan or 313. What's his name? Boo Boy. He says, I got to check out He says, I got to check out the descriptions. If they say they're covered in red hair, I'm going to flip out. Yeah, Nephilim.
Well, they said the ones in Ohio, they've got all different descriptions: dark, red, blonde. They've seen them all colors. They think it's a whole family moving.
Well, listen, you get there's a lot of those in the southern end of southern tip down there in Ohio. You get those mountains, and you get the rivers and a lot of water and a lot of mountains. There's a lot of stuff going on down in there too, and right around the border of West Virginia and all that. So, yeah, the red-haired ones tend to be a little violent, Outcast. So. You got to be careful. Think about those red hair clowns and their violence and all that, and the big giant smiles. Why these clowns have the big wide mouth. Nephilim. That's what I'm saying. Listen, yeah, Music Lover says you're better off with the dark ones or the black ones. Yeah, they're a little more, they'll kill you a little bit slower. Crazy. Cryptids of the Corn is great if you want to learn about. Yeah, those guys are good. Cryptids of the Corn. I think, what's his name? Jay or something over there. Yeah, it's pretty good. So
I can't help but wonder if we are approaching the end of days here soon. if the veil is thin or something's going on, because it seems to be an uptick in all this stuff. It's not just one kind, it's like, it's not just Bigfoot. It's all kinds of, well, even although Violent J's story is old, but still it's shadow figures. It's all kinds of stuff is going on.
Well, think about it. We had sleep paralysis last week again. Somebody talked about that. So maybe we could probably reach out and maybe schedule those guys up, Violent J and Isham separately. And if Dave wants to come back or jump in with us too, that's fine, Outcast. I don't mind that. So listen, you guys, we had a lot of fun tonight, and we jumped into a lot of stuff. So Ionic Mike, he says that's when you need a high-powered automatic rifle at the ready. Yeah, I know. You got to put a lot of lead down range on these guys. Mike, now he says, "Look, I hope we're near the end of days. I can't take it anymore."
I know. I'm with them. I'm burned out. And then Evan just brought up CERN. Exactly. The CERN's probably got something to do with all this too.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Listen, if you guys want to get into some of this stuff, I suggest you guys go listen to our Mystery Pie podcast. There's only like 4 or 5 episodes on there. We need to get back to it. It's fun. But we've talked about a lot of this stuff on this show. All you have to do is go wherever you're watching or listening to and go into the search. I don't know, type in Nephilim or type in sleep paralysis or type in all this Bigfoot, whatever. And you'll see all those things pop up that we've talked about on the show. You can go back. I mean, we've been doing this since 2021. You guys, there's a ton of stuff. We got a big library, a catalog of stuff that we're talking about. So, yeah, you guys go check it out. It's crazy. Some of these guests that we've had on the show, nuts. But yeah, Outcast, we got to get to the end of the show here, brother. So why don't you give us some final thoughts? Unless you have anything else to throw in, yeah.
No, I'm just going to read some scripture, and
okay,
we can duck out here. Romans 8:28, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. For those God foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the likeness of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brothers. And those he predestined, he also called. And those he called, he also justified. And those he justified, he also glorified. What then shall we say in response to this? If God is for us, who can be against us? We talked about a lot of crazy stuff tonight, you guys. Please remember to keep your eyes focused on the Creator and his Son, Jesus Christ. This world is full of nonsense that is probably even designed to make you feel distressed, anxious, worried, full of fear. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, for God does not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of sound mind. Remember, if you're feeling anxious, press into the Lord. Get on your physical knees and pray. If you reach out, he will reach right back, and he will let you know that he is near you. Do not let any of this cause dismay or fear in your heart. We have to be brave and courageous going forward. If he has his hand on you and you hear his voice on a regular basis, do not think that he has forsaken you in the midst of this chaos. He has a plan for you in the middle of it all. So those are my final thoughts for the night. Be brave. I'm telling myself this at the same time. I'm not just preaching at you. I need to be reminded of these things as well. But I don't know about you guys. I know a lot of you believers out there, you feel that God has had his hand on you your whole life, and he pursued you as you ran from him, and he continued to be patient and call out to you, and he sent people to plant seeds in you until you were ready to surrender your heart and give your heart to Jesus. And in that changing of your inner self through the indwelling of the Holy Spirit, you began to see the world in a different light, and you saw people in love, and you stopped judging the outer appearance, and you started seeing the inner person, the inner beauty. Or you might be seeing people that are demon possessed. You may be just high alert and tuned like never before. Why would God do that to you, to deliver you into the hands of the enemy? He wouldn't. He's training you up to be a soldier for him. And in these end times, as wacky as it gets, no matter what's going on in Israel, whether Netanyahu is alive or not, you are a child of God, and you've been predestined to be in this fight, and he's got a plan for you. So rest assured, sleep tight. Don't let any of this bug you. Know that you are chosen. That's my final words for the night.
Awesome, Outcast. Thank you so much. Very on point. I love those final thoughts, man. They were
Did you
like,
guys lose me?
No, yeah. For a second we did, but yeah, you're good. You're good to go. Amen to that. Keep trusting in the Lord. Cast all your cares on him because he cares for you. And that was from Music Lover. So awesome. Thanks so much, you guys. That's awesome. Outcast. Way to bring the heat, brother. I like it. Good job on that. Listen, you guys, I just wanted to give a big shout out to our supporters tonight. Thank you guys so much. We also have Trump One over here on pill.net. She gifted us a cookie earlier tonight, Outcast. So thank you so much. I just released the scratching over there. So have a good time with all that, you guys. I'm looking over here at the rest of the chats, looking for Rumble Rants or Gold Pills or all the goodies that they give us. But I don't see any. So thank you guys so much. Deb Santos, she says amen. Thank you guys. Yes, thank you. Thank all you guys out there. It's so good to have you guys out there with us. Music Lover says, thank you for a great show, guys. Have an awesome one. There's no way you can fear the creator without fearing the creator. Yes. That's from Evan. Awesome. Listen, you guys, if you like what you heard and you want to take support, you want to support the show, please do that. We have all kinds of stuff down below where you can do that. Any of the links, check them if you want to do that. If not, tell your mom and dad about us, all right? We're out here having a great time, and they could be having a great time with us. So what I'm saying, please leave us a 5-star rating and review over on iTunes, CastBox, Spotify, any of those other major podcast platforms, even the small ones. We're looking for more people just like you who want to be in this family, the Dangerous Info Podcast family is what I'm saying. So thanks to you, Outcast. It's awesome. Info chatters, thank you guys for being out there in the live chat. It's been a great time. I don't know. What else we got, Outcast? A big thank you for watching. We will be back on, Monday. Join us here live every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, sometimes on Thursday, but that's starting to look a little iffy too because, work is coming back is what I'm saying, Outcast. It's crazy. Do not be threatened by the mainstream media, mere fear campaigns, all right? Rescue those in darkness. Do not comply with unjust laws, mandates, or regulations, and trust your gut always because that's God talking to you guys. God bless and stay dangerous, brothers and sisters. Stay dangerous.